after the disappointment and the hurt. That was Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle 2. But fear not, the grumpy old Reds are here to make everything better. Welcome to GOR. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Whatever time of day you're watching this, hope you are well. And welcome to, I don't know, is it a therapy stream? Is it a reality stream? Is it a mix of both? We're going to get into all of that. Guys in the chat, let us know how you are feeling about everything from yesterday. We've got loads of you already in here commenting, people talking about the results from today. They've been an interesting bunch, to say the least. James saying, not bad results for us today. Wolves should have beaten Leeds. They will give us a tough game in 2 weeks. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Everton, Tommy's saying with the late point. I mean, for a neutral, it's quite interesting to watch, isn't it? It's better than the title race. Jan's in here saying results haven't been kind today. Anyone who thinks that we aren't in serious danger of getting relegated needs a head wobble. I really hate that head wobble. I don't know why, it just annoys me. Smithy, how are you? Smithy saying, praying DC United don't trigger the option to buy on Lob because they've got an option to buy on that. I did not know that.
Okay.
I did not know that. Are you sure about that? TC saying we've dropped to 16th. Yep, 16th. I wonder how Fletcher's argument stacks now about the amount of clubs underneath us. But anyway, Chris, how are you? 2 exciting seasons ending in a row. Football is not good for the old ticker. It's absolutely crazy. It really isn't good, is it? Fonzie's saying going down. Miski saying I wasn't too bad, but then Chelsea rolled over to Everton, and now I'm worried. And then Harold saying Everton should be safe with Dyche. We just got to hope that we can take draws from 5 games and a win. 34 to 35 should do it, he says. Spacebar. Do we ban him? Nah. Yeah,
we'll take a rough with a smooth. We're
still mates, Spacebar. We're still mates. I hope you enjoyed I know you enjoyed your experience there. So, all right, there's loads of messages coming in. We'll jump into your messages. We'll get a Q&A going. Let's say hi to the boys. Ez, how are you, bud?
I'm as good as I can be, mate, but always good to see you guys and to engage with a chat. So, yeah, looking forward to tonight, mate, regardless.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
And how are you, mate? You're a bit wound up.
Yeah, I'm down. Obviously, it's only normal. But first
Understatement.
First of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to Rona. She did a lovely cream tea for my mum's birthday today, and she's made this Rocky Road dessert, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I tell you, it's very naughty.
Are they brownies, mate?
No, no, it's got everything in it. It's just.
Okay, yeah, okay. Oh,
marshmallows. Okay. It's called Rocky Road. It's got marshmallows and.
Yeah, it's just I had a Rocky Road, but it was like a brownie, and it wasn't one of. It was one of those brownies, not one of these brownies. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I just wondering.
Well, Rocky Road is really a fitting. Name,
yeah,
isn't it?
True,
because
yeah.
That is how
Good segue.
Road. Yeah, it's like we planned this stuff. It is going to be a rocky road into the run-in the season, and it is worrying. I did put a video out earlier. I got a few interesting comments, to say the least. But what we are doing as well, guys, is just a quick reminder. We've got a brand new show launching on Monday. And Ez, you want to talk everyone through it because you've kind of been working at it in the background, getting it all sorted.
Yeah, I'm just I'll tell you the title first. It's called Beat the Drop, and what the idea of the show is basically to have guest channels, vloggers from other teams that are around in the relegation battle with us, and it's unprecedented how many teams are involved in this relegation fight at the moment. So look out for the show on Monday. It should be fantastic. Yeah, 8 o'clock on Monday on FFTV as usual, and hopefully one of us will be joining Wolverine's going to be hosting for now until I get set up. Till I'm back in the UK. I'm obviously abroad. I'm in the Swiss Alps tonight, but I'll be once I'm back and settled. I hope to be taking over. But yeah, Wolverine's going to be hosting for the initial few weeks, and we're hoping to get, like I said, channels from teams around the relegation zone. So
we have everyone's confirmed.
Yeah.
Everyone's on. So everyone who's involved in this fight is gonna be an epic stream. We're gonna have them all on. We're gonna see. Look, I really wanted to do it on our channel because I want you guys to see that if you are feeling down and you are feeling depressed about the situation, yeah, trust me, I've brought on some more depressed people for you to cheer you up, right? So you will get to see who's depressed and who isn't. We'll do a review over the weekend games. We'll see who thinks they're going down and who thinks they're going up. So that's coming on Monday. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah, and I want to start with you, mate, because I don't want to get all sentimental, right? But when you sent me over your videos for the vlog, when I saw your post-match, I kind of choked up a little. I really did. And I'm being a legit genuine, not taking the mic or anything, because it kind of, I felt it right there. I really did. Because everything you said and everything you were showing, and I'm sure some of the guys have watched it, even in Wayne, hope you're well. I'm sure some of the guys have seen the vlog already today, but talk us through it now, because you didn't want to talk at the time, and I understand that. How are you feeling now after having slept on it, had 24-ish hours to soak it up?
Yeah, well, obviously, I believe a draw would have been a good result for us, and it certainly would have given us that little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence going forward. And to concede a goal like that in injury time, it's the first time this season where I just felt so devastated. I just didn't want to. I wanted to crawl up in a ball under a quilt or something. I just didn't want to speak to anybody. I didn't want to express any opinions or anything. Now, as you say, a day's gone by, and you come to terms with things, and I'm getting back up again. My feelings are getting back up again. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean we're relegated. It just means it's a little bit harder than it would have been. Today's results have been very interesting. Some good, some bad. Most of them incredible. 3-alls and 4-2s.
Bloody hell, man!
Yeah.
Quite a positive result. Not a result today. It's not the result I wanted. But it's the Leeds-Wolves match. But the fact that they got 2 guys sent off and will both miss the game against us has got to be helpful to us. And now that game becomes the game that I never say must win, because it never.
I was just going to ask you, is it must win yet?
Yeah, it's not a must win, but it could be a game that really affects us the rest of our season, because as we know, our away form is shockingly bad. So, if we were to lose at home to Wolves, it really does start to pile the pressure on. So that's how I'm feeling.
It is.
There were actually positives out of that game, which hopefully we'll come on to. There were 100%. Some genuine positives. I think we probably know which they are. There's a couple that we might disagree on, but some that we certainly won't disagree on.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. Look, for me, yesterday, I wasn't angry. I was like, I'm more angry about the Everton game. That's where my anger lies, yeah? Because Cooper should have done against Everton what he did yesterday. Facts, as far as I'm concerned, man. If we played like that against Everton, we would have beaten Everton at home.
Did we have a personnel to do that? Would you have trusted?
There were some missing ones, granted. But I'm still saying, like, the mentality was slightly more attacking. Look, we weren't completely attack. I'm not saying we suddenly turned into prime Real Madrid, man, Galacticos and all that. But it's that game I expected to lose, and the fact that, and I think you said it yesterday to me, you'd rather have just lost it 4-0 than have that heartache.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's far more heartbreaking to play. I think we played quite well against a very good team, so it's far more devastating to play that well and lose in the manner that we lost. I would rather lose 4-0 and just be crap. You know what I mean? Because at least you accept it then. It's just, we were shit. You come out and you can rant and moan and, we were crap.
Get it off your chest,
something like that, you're so disappointed, that it hurts more in a way.
Well, I'll disagree with that purely because just what you just kind of mentioned, that we're gonna look at some of the positives, and if it was a 4-0 defeat, there wouldn't have been many positives to take out of it.
I think I meant the immediate aftermath, not now you sit back. I think as you come out of the ground, you feel worse having lost like that. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Once you've had a day to think about it, of course, there are positives to take out of it, and that's important. So I think
let's jump into your thoughts. Before we do, we've already got way over 100 of you in here. Please don't forget to hit that like button. This isn't going to be a depressing stream. We're going to obviously analyze the game, and then I really want to almost make it a happy clappy, but not happy clappy how some bellends do it. I want to have a constructive look at the game and what the road ahead leads. I don't mind people wanting to happy clap, but I always feel in any argument, in anything you put forward, you need to have reasons, you need to have some evidence behind what you say, and some
context.
That's what we're going to do. Exactly. So that's what we're going to do today, right? That's how we're going to present it all. Now, am I saying Forest is safe? No. Could we go down? It's looking more and more likely if you look at statistics and everything like that. But we will come to that discussion in a minute. We'll get your guys' thoughts on it as well. Ez, I really want to dive into your thoughts quickly as an overview, and then we'll start dissecting everything and looking into it.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed that much from my post-match comments on our vlog. So if you haven't watched the vlog, guys, please check it out. It was fantastic. Really great work from
them guns, mate. I gotta say, those guns are really coming along nicely.
And mate, I'm still having trouble with my neighbours though. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to watch it. But yeah, I felt disappointed because I felt like we'd lost from momentum in that game midway through that second half when Yates had to come off. We could have carried on, because what I felt happened was it was a wrong substitution, or the wrong player was brought on, and that gave them the threshold. I saw Bruno get so much more of the ball once Yatesy was off. I'm not, and that changed the game for me. So I was disappointed from that point of view, but I was really happy to see the players that have come back, and we've got to give them time. We've got to give Niakate is a prime example that I'm talking about. We've got to give that guy time. Yes, he made a mistake, and yes, he's come out and been honest about it. Unlike some of our other CBs, centre backs, who they have a bad game and they block people on Twitter, but he came out and he held his hands up, apologised, and we moved forward. And that's what we want from. That's captain material. That's taking responsibility and owning up to it. But when I see the players that are coming back, I'm filled with a bit more hope. Awoniyi's not far off. Kouyate's almost back. Hendo will be back before the end of the season, mark my words.
But
that gives me the hope.
Sorry to interrupt you, right? This injury argument, I don't know if I'm buying it, right? Because we were hearing this before the World Cup. Once we get back from the World Cup, we'll have our players back, etc., etc., yeah? It's almost like we just continue to make the same mistakes in our thought process. This is just my opinion. Because what's to say that, God forbid, tomorrow, I don't know, I'm just going to pick a player that's not, let's just say Omar Richards gets another injury. I'm just picking someone. I don't want to jinx any player by saying it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's just say an important player got an injury tomorrow. It could happen, And then what's everyone going to lean on? Just imagine all right, I'm going to say, imagine MG Dub, Jono, and Dennis all picks up injury. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to talk it straight, right? And then what we're going to say, oh, we were unlucky because of that injury. We are always going to have injuries. In any part of the season, you have to deal with it. Yes, we got a stupid amount now. The reason I'm going to you is I don't want to rile up the big man just yet. But the point is, for me, that argument doesn't cut it because we will keep getting injuries. That's the nature of football.
I know, but it wasn't the injury, it's the players that are going to come back. They are going to be coming back, and those players will make us stronger. There's no doubt we wouldn't have played a 4-2-3-1 yesterday if Niakate wasn't available. He wouldn't have done it. No way he would have played it. And I don't have a problem with that shape. I just think we didn't quite have the legs in there, but we need. And let's not forget, we're against a potentially top 4 team. I think they're going to finish in the top 4 this season. I said that at the start of the season, and I'll stick with that. It's a very, very, very top team, but come up against the teams around us and some of the opponents we've got coming up after the international break, I'm a lot more confident, mate. If we play like that, we can get results. I'm sure we can. Even away from home, a draw away from home right now is vital. You know, every point's going to be vital.
Is it enough?
Right now.
Is it enough?
It could just be enough, mate. Purely because we're going to have a look at this with the other guys on Monday, looking at the runnings that these other teams have got. You know, nobody's got it easy, mate. And I still think we're better than 3 teams. It might be 17th and not the 12th that I predicted at the start of the season, but it'll be enough. I believe it'll be enough, and I want to be positive on this stream, and that's what's giving me hope.
We'll get to the positivity. We will, and I
That's
think we all believe that we can stay up. But Ant, has he disappeared?
No.
No, he's just stuck in. he's on some rocky road, mate.
There's some facts and realities that whatever side of the fence, whatever mood you're in, whatever's going on, that we do need to discuss. Firstly is the form. At the moment, I think Leicester, Forest and Crystal Palace are the worst 3 form teams currently going in our kind of bottom half of the league. The rest are starting to pick up results. We've seen some interesting results today. Do you feel that we're starting to feel the momentum being sapped out a bit? Or do you think that one game can turn it around? Or do you need to sort of kind of work your way into that game by seeing some progression in the previous games? Because it's kind of getting to the crunch stage of the season. There's no denying that now. There's no more time to say, oh, let's wait a couple of games, let them gel. It's now or never, really, isn't it? I'm not saying that, you know, we lose the next game, we're down. But in terms of, we haven't seen a team selected in back-to-back matches where it's the same 11. I don't know if we've seen that all season. Yeah. So is that causing us some issues as well? Is there too much chopping and changing with what's going on the pitch? What are your thoughts on that? And what are your thoughts in the chat as well?
Yeah, I absolutely think there's been too much chopping and changing. Obviously, part of that's due to injuries. You know, that's, as you say, that's unavoidable. There has been too much chopping and changing. Obviously, you're right. We have a lack of momentum at the moment. That's obvious, but that can change quite quickly. The teams that you mentioned that are below us, you know, in better form, that ain't necessarily going to last. Do you know what I mean? And one result for us could turn it around. Turn it around in the fact that it could give us that belief back. We have got players coming back, as Ed says, and I'm still very positive. I mean, let's be honest, right? When we play Wolves, and it's all ifs and buts in football, I always say it's unpredictable. That's why I get annoyed at people that state opinion as fact, and we're definitely going down. They're definitely better than us. They're blah 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 after one result or 2 results. We play Wolves. They've got 2 players missing. 2 of their first teamers missing. We pick the right side, play the right way, win the game well, and all of a sudden everything's up in the air again. The season from now on to the end of the season is going to be up and down, not just for us, but for all those teams. You know, I mean, I've had people say to me, "No chance Leicester can go down. They're too good." And I think, yeah, but they're below us and have lost. Did they lose today? Drew with Brentford.
Yeah.
They've lost.
Came from behind away to Brentford.
Yeah, which is a good result. But they lost 4 on the trot and drawn 1. That means they've got 1 point out of the last 15. Some people are telling me Leicester are too good. I just don't get it. I mean, even Wolves, we all say, and I think we all believe, Wolves are too good. Wolves will get out of it. What the fuck happened to them today? This is what I mean. Football is crazy. Nothing is certain.
But this league is crazy. Everton were in the relegation zone, I think. You know, when we played them, they were 18th. If they had beaten Chelsea today, they would have gone to 12th.
Yeah.
Same with us.
I've never seen anything in all my years of watching Premier League football. There's always been 1 or 2 teams that have cut themselves adrift. Absolutely. And then one place up for grabs usually is what you see.
Yeah.
And now this is just like...
And even that one place is normally between like 2 clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like 2 have already gone and the other one's between 2 clubs. This season is between 6, 7.
Keep going.
Literally 8 clubs. 8 clubs are in it, aren't there? Is there 9 clubs?
Between 8 clubs.
9. You know, I've still got Palace in this.
Palace are definitely in this. Massively in this. Yeah.
People talk to me, some people have talked to me as if we're virtually already down.
Mm.
And I think, well, no,
Yeah.
we're not.
But and I think to give you,
we could have easily been in 12th now.
Yeah, and that's basically what I was responding to in my opening statements. That it's not over, and let's get rid of this defeatist attitude that we're already down. If you're feeling that, then literally fuck off. If you
no,
felt
no, I'm gonna argue back with you.
no,
On that.
if what you think we're down already right now?
No, I didn't
have
say
you thrown
that.
in? Have you thrown in? That's what I'm responding to. That's what I'm responding to. Those
No, but
comments.
the point
ones
is-
who've already thrown the towel in and they don't want to fight.
If they want to throw the towel in, that's their prerogative. That's their prerogative, man. You can't tell them just to fuck off because they feel it's down. I'm sure they would have their reasons. I'm sure they'd say, look at look at our current form. We haven't won an X amount of games. I'm just putting their argument forward.
Right,
I'm
but
just
the
putting their
argument
forward.
the argument stands if we've got no more games to play. We've got 9 games to play. That argument doesn't stand. It doesn't stand. I'm sorry. How does that argument stand? We're already down, are we?
I didn't say I agree with the argument.
No, so it doesn't stand.
There's a difference between saying
Having an opinion and just
I think we're going to go down.
Yes.
Because A, B, and C. There's a difference between that and somebody telling me we're down. That's it.
Yeah.
We're down.
That's what I'm responding to, bud.
No
I know
context.
what you're saying, but I'm still saying that even if they are wrong, they still have the right to that opinion, man.
yeah,
That's,
yeah.
Of course,
that's
they have
all
a
I'm
right to
saying.
that opinion, but
Now, if
I
they're
don't
not
wanna-
going to be able to back
yeah.
it up with fact, I agree, because statistically, you're not down until you're down. That is what it is. I mean, statistically, we can still get top 4. I'm still holding on to that.
You deluded.
Shut up. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, I would still, if someone came on tonight and they said that we're down, yeah, I'd argue back with them why I don't think they're right, but their opinion is valid, man. You know. Sorry.
That's just, it's baseless opinions. Go on.
We're all a bit touchy at the moment, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's not like us.
If somebody spoke to me like on the way back from the mat yesterday, I wouldn't be responsible for my act. Well, I would be, but you know what I'm saying. You know, we're all a little bit down, and when you're down, you say things, you react to things. But I just hate this. We're down, and I think, why are you saying that?
I agree with you.
We're in a fight, but we're not down. And a couple of games can totally change. As we've seen ourselves, we've gone from feeling quite comfortable in 13th, 14th position. Let's be honest, 6-point gap, we felt quite comfortable. A couple of games later, shit, we're back in it. And that can just as easily turn the other way as well.
Yeah,
I get it. I'm just, I'm Wolverine, the defender of all man and woman.
Of course you are.
Look, I want to get on and let's just start analysing some of the things in the game, and I'm sure the chat are going to want to have their say as well. And Nathan is right. He's saying 45% of the Premier League are currently fighting for survival. It's ridiculously crazy. Do you know what? You kind of almost wish you were in Villa's kind of position, because I would quite like to watch this fight without being scared as a neutral. You know what I'm saying? It'd be quite nice to be looking down at it with the cigar lit up and thinking this is quite an interesting
they
fight.
always say, don't they, that Championship's the craziest league in the world because there's so many teams involved in promotion and whatever. This is kind of feeling like that. And I even remember last season when we lost to Bournemouth, people saying, well, that's it, we're not going up now, we've blown it. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but that's what you love about football. Just very quickly, crazy cat lady in the house saying we've got to stay positive. We are the 12th player, and if we are negative, this will have a huge negative effects on the game. We can't be fair whether supporters, good or bad. We love the club. Crazy cat lady. Also, I've seen the coasters that your other half has sent. They look fantastic. So thank you for that design and just giving him a massive shout out as well. But I do kind of disagree with you. Look, if people want to be negative, that's their prerogative to be negative.
That's fine. That's all I'm saying is right now.
Don't be defeatist is what you're saying. Yeah,
that's probably a better way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, we got a few questions for you guys from the chat already. So we got a Q&A open. Guys, please do hit the like as well if you haven't already. Crypto, our bro. Let me put my teeth back in. Crypto Rider. He says, on Ez's point, we are better than some teams, but only if Cooper plays the right side. That's a frustrating thing. We could be good as Ez says, but Cooper doesn't let us. I want to kind of bounce off of what he's just said there. And I just want to talk about some of the selections. Now, Ez, you were quite happy with the team selection, weren't you? Just very quickly before you do that, can I just check FFTV is not just for the Prem season? If we go down, we've still got FFTV.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you know, we may have to support, you know, Burnley are coming back up. Of course, Si will be here. Don't worry. Yeah, so Ez, you were quite happy with the team selection. Was there anything in particular you didn't like about it, or even liked about it? Is there anything you would have changed? Obviously, Mr. Hindsight is on your side here, but
yeah,
I saw you on the vlog. The camera didn't light, and you were very happy with the team, as was I.
Yes, yeah, and I was happy with what we thought was going to be the potential setup as well in terms of formation, and I'm still happy about it. I just think the substitutions killed it. I still contest that. Substitutions killed the game. The actual setup, the starting lineup, the formation for me is what we've been kind of crying out for. So I'm not going to complain about that and seeing a 4-2-3-1. Whether we had the players that we'd ideally like to have in that formation, well, I don't think it's the case. But he's got it. For me, he's preparing this formation, this lineup for when these players come back, and then we can get the maximum out of it. But I was positive about that. I was really happy with that. And it's obviously great to see Niakate back, and that formation, that partnership with Felipe can only go from strength to strength, in my opinion. So yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, and just on the substitutions, because it was quite interesting. Because obviously I hadn't spoken to you guys after the match because we all had our stuff to do. But I did message Ez saying it was amazing to see that we hadn't spoken, but his thoughts on Freuler coming on for Danilo instead of Danilo with the 8th substitution. That's what he would have done. I said that on the live stream as well yesterday. I got a feeling you'd probably agree with that. How did you feel about, and for me, that was the pivotal moment in the match when Yates went off injured and the decision of who to bring on. What did you think? And guys in the chat, what did you think about the substitution, that key substitution of Yates, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think Freuler did anything particularly wrong, but he's not got the aggression and the dynamism that Danilo's got. So for me, if it was me, if I was given the choice, I would 100% have put Danilo into that fray, because he's young, he's fresh, he's aggressive, he can tackle, he can pass the ball, he can run. So, and the guy is a class act, you know, and that would have been my choice without any shadow of doubt. I think with Freuler, it does put us back into our shell, because he's going to sit deeper and he's just going to be purely defensively minded. Whereas Danilo would have given it, because there were quite a number of times, and I'm sure Ez will agree, when we did break up their attack, but then it kind of stalled in midfield. Yeah. And if we'd have had somebody like, well, if we'd have had Danilo there, he could have perhaps taken that ball on and given us an attacking option that we didn't have. Yeah. Because there were too many times when it was once again coming back, putting us back on the defence. If they regroup, they're a very good defensive side. It makes it a lot more difficult for us. The best way to beat Newcastle, because of that defence they've got, is in transition. So when they're attacking, get the ball off them and then go. And that wasn't happening because, I believe, Freuler is that more defensive-minded midfielder.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with him and Shelby both on the pitch at the time, I think Shelby substitution came a little bit later, didn't it? Because it was, the first substitution was, he took off Ayew and Yatesy together, didn't he? Or am I wrong in that one? No, in fact, no. When Freuler came on, he just came on to take Yates off. Yeah. He did a shouldering. And the thing is, as you were pretty much the same place as me, I saw Coops calling Freuler back, but I hadn't noticed the injury at the time. When I looked across to see it was Yatesy that I was down, and I just stunk into my seat. I was like, that's just the wrong. It's just so negative.
It was demoralising, wasn't it?
It was, and it gave them the impetus for me, because Bruno really got into the game at that stage, and he dictated that last 20 minutes for me.
Yeah, but it's
prior to that, Bruno was quite deep, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he had the license to come forward because that space was being left because Freuler was deeper.
He was having to take the ball off the central defenders, you know.
He was.
So I think it changed the game totally.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you can tell that Freuler and Shelby are very similar in the way either they're being instructed or they're suddenly deciding to play. They both tend to float to the right-hand side. They both try to collect it from the defenders. And they're both, one thing that Fletcher said that I do agree with, they're almost having a race to see who can get the deepest. That does tend to happen. And then what it did create, you're absolutely spot on, was that pocket in front of them for Bruno to operate into. And that freed him up. And then suddenly that's where you saw the game changing. And that's why I was screaming out for Danilo, because he's got legs and energy.
Yeah.
I personally would have taken, because Shelvey was tanking as well, in my opinion. I would have taken Yatesy off for Danilo and Shelvey off for Freuler. That would have been the two changes I made, personally.
Yeah, probably where I'd done it,
Yeah, I would.
And just one more point, and Ant probably agree with me. The tempo of the game was really good, especially that probably the last 20 minutes of the first half and the whole of the second half. The tempo was really good. And when you got a game going at that pace, Freuler he's not the player to bring on into that game. If you're starting off slow and then you're building your tempo, then he's more adaptable to that. But coming into a fast-paced game, I just think it killed it. I killed our momentum and gave them the upper hand.
I mean, I know that. Well, certainly I, and certainly Wolverine. I'm not sure whether you have this, but we've certainly given Freuler all the benefit of the doubt because he looked such a good player for Atlanta and for Switzerland. But I'm coming to the conclusion that the Italian league is so slow compared with the Premier League that you can look really good in the Italian league and not necessarily be so good in the Premier League. And that's the conclusion I'm starting to come with. And I don't want to, because he's got such pedigree. Yeah. But sometimes you have to face up to it and say,
yeah.
And like you've got to put legs around him, man. You've got to put legs around him.
And that's the same with Shelvey.
He looked his best when it had Yates and you had Quixote around him, giving him legs. Even when Mangala was there as well. You can't just. It's like if you dumped Messi into that team. He's not going to be Messi. He can't take on the whole world by himself. So I still think Freuler has those qualities. He's just not got the setup around him that would work with it. And when you think about it, when he plays in Switzerland, he's playing alongside Xhaka, who's not exactly Mr. Pace himself, So it is quite interesting. It's quite interesting with this Freuler conundrum. Sorry, guys.
I was just going to go back to mentioning just after the World Cup that's where he looked good at the World Cup. Again, international football, the pace of international football isn't anywhere near Premier League level, and it is more akin to the Italian league. So that's where he looked good as well. But you're right, he needs legs around him as much as Shelvey needs legs around him. You can't have them two at the base of your defence. It just doesn't work. That's what it is for me. And that's down to Coops, I'm afraid.
The other thing about international football, I bring this up, I don't know if people agree or not, is that there are very, very, very few decent international football teams. You're probably talking 2 or 3. The rest are very average to poor. If you're playing against San Marino, okay, you've played in an international match. You're playing against Butchers and Bakers and Candlestick Makers. You play against most of these teams. They're not good sides. So being good at international level again doesn't necessarily translate. There's been a few players who've been good at international level and not very good in. I mean, Harry Maguire, for God's sake, looks good at international level.
I'd put Sterling in there as well, but that's just my opinion.
Well, he's won a few things with Man City. Let's be fair.
I mean, it doesn't mean he's good. It doesn't mean he's good. Anyway, I don't care about that. That's not
we're not gonna
listen.
Can I just say, I want to go back to this point at some point because we've not had a spine of a team, so I will go back to that point at some point.
Go to it now. Go on.
Well, we haven't had that all season, have we? And the only kind of spell that we did have, the base of that spine was Hendo, and I'm not knocking Navas for 1 second. He's a top-class goalkeeper, and he made some fantastic saves again yesterday. I just don't think he commands the... I don't know whether it's not the respect of the other players, but confidence of the other players. Some of his distribution was poor yesterday, and it's something I've pulled him up on a few occasions. There seems to be one ball, and that's out to Aurier, and
right,
it's we've got what?
You've sat there and complained about Hendo's distribution all season.
No, I haven't. No. I haven't. I complained about Hendo's distribution when we didn't have players for him to give the ball to when he had to launch it long. the Leicester game.
So you did complain about distribution.
No, in one particular game, the Leicester game in particular, I said before that and afterwards, I can't remember the stream, and I remember saying, did he have that issue with his distribution before that, or was it these last couple of games? And I think we agreed it was those last couple of games that we were talking about in particular. So his distribution was affected by the way we were playing at the time, but generally no, I think his distribution is better than Navas's, and I think that's something that hinders us because we don't seem to have a plan B. We just don't seem to have it. We'll pass it around the centre backs for a couple of passes, then maybe Shelby will come deeper to try and launch one, but generally what we're doing is launching it out to the right for Ore to get his head onto it. And how many times when we win a header do we not find a Forest player with Forest shirt? It happened time and time again.
You did it quite a lot yesterday where
you did it. Even Felipe did, to be fair. He won a lot of headers, but we wasn't finding our man, and that just seems to be the case. We either don't win the first ball and we definitely don't win the second ball on too many occasions. Anyway, carry on.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you, but I will say that you have called out Hender's distribution a lot. I'm not just singling you out. There's been a lot of the fan base.
I'm gonna have to show you the clips. Yeah, I gave context. I gave you context.
There was a time when I think most of us probably called out his distribution because
you did as well at Villa. If I'm going to single you out as well,
I said, well, hang on, before you call out his distribution. The only way a goalkeeper could distribute the ball well is if he's got somebody to distribute the ball to, and none of our players.
I agree.
So I said then, I don't think that it's bad distribution. I think the guy just hasn't got a pass.
Yeah. And Travis Francis' tracksuit is spot on. The problem is our defenders are constantly passing back to Navas for him to clear it. Now, I will say this. Niakate was trying some channel passes. Now, they didn't come off. It's fine, as long as he was trying it. Where it started to happen that the ball kept going back to Navas, I don't want to single him out, but Freuler, when he came on, there was one pass I remember where everyone was a third of the way up our pitch. And he still turned around and nailed it back to Navas. I don't know if anyone remembers it. It wasn't.
No, I remember it because
but to be fair, that we were passing back all game long. It was driving me up the fucking wall.
No, but that one particular pass, I do remember it.
About it, I said you got the left centre back, passes it square to the right centre back. It might go to Ore, but it might come back. It go back to the left centre back, and then after 3 or 4 passes, it goes back to Navas, who boots it up the field. And I think, well, the bloody centre back may as well have done that in the first place. It's further up the pitch.
It got it a little further forward, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit further forward. It's always pissing about. And then it goes back to Navas, who boots it up. And that's not Navas's fault, by the way. It's just the way we played.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get into some questions because the next thing I want to talk about is the 2 versus the 3 in the midfield. We've got a lot to cover off. JP saying, evening fellas, anything to be positive about to put a man in a good mood? In a good mood, I think he's trying to say. Plenty. We're going to come on to it. I want to talk about Dennis, who I think is going to be a huge positive. Let's bring up some of the other comments from the chat.
Got a little bit of disagreement coming along in a bit as well.
Yeah, I think I know who you're going to talk about. Chapo saying Leeds win, Everton draw. Yeah, but you can flip that and say Wolves lost and Chelsea drew. Chelsea aren't safe yet.
Bournemouth lost.
Bournemouth lost, absolutely. Watching UFC at the moment. Come on, Edwin.
What did they do? Did they draw?
Who? Bournemouth lost to Villa 3-0.
Southampton.
They drew with Spurs 3-0. They were 3-1 down.
3-1 down, yeah.
Crypto saying Forest Ant's 100% right. No, he's not. Can't stand when we pass back to the keepers so much. Okay, he is right on that. I'll give you
He's right on that. He's right on that.
Sharky saying that's right. I feel sorry for our goalkeeper with all the backward passes. There's so many comments coming in. Jolly Ollie saying Worrell at centre forward. Well, he can header the ball. We know that much. Let's get on to a couple of your questions. Then I want to talk about the 2 versus the 3. 1865 Fred has said, I think Danilo will play a huge part, and we kind of covered that. We do agree with what you're saying. Tomic says, hey guys, I know you aren't the biggest fans of international football, but with the fact that Mangala got an international call-up, do you think that maybe we have overlooked Mangala? Interesting question. And I'll come to you on this one because while Mangala was injured at the start of the season, both me, you, Ez, and the rest of us were like, can't wait till he comes back.
He's our best player.
Best player. Him and O'Brien were fantastic against Spurs. They looked brilliant against Everton when he went off injured.
I mean, he's our best player when he was out. Because every player was out is the best player.
Yeah. Are we overlooking him? Guys in the chat, how do you feel? I think this is a cracking question by Tomic. How do you guys feel about Mangala at the moment? And do you think he has a shout to get back in the team? I'll start with you, Ant, on it.
Yeah, I think Mangala's a good player. The only issue I have with him that he needs to sort out is that he'll get the ball, he'll get past a couple of players, he'll hold players off, he'll win the ball, but his distribution is... He fucks it up at the end of it. He'll do really good stuff and then give it away.
1 sec, mate. Just sorry, before you carry on. Big shout out to 1850. Finger to get noticed. Thank you so much for the £2, buddy. Really do appreciate it.
I don't understand that. Am I supposed to?
This is you doing this all the time, man. Can I have a chat? Go on, sorry, carry on.
I'm a polite young man.
No, it's the actual Shiba cat raising their hand. It's an emoji.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, don't worry.
Yeah.
It is you. This is always you. Anyway, let's carry on. And Carl, don't worry. You're late here. You can carry on.
Yeah.
Is that one of them cats? Is that one of them?
I think so.
No, it's a Shiba cat, man. Anyway, don't worry. It's an emoji. Thank you so much.
We also we're going to dedicate the rest of the stream to discuss this.
Let's nail this.
1865 point you started with your bloody emoji, man. Thank you so much for it. Oh, God.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a good player. There's definitely, well, in my opinion, there's definitely a future for him at the club. Whether we'd put him in ahead of the likes of Yates, Denilson, Freuler, I'd probably put him ahead of Freuler, depending on who else was playing. Mm-hmm. But he's got a battle, hasn't he? He's got a battling to get back into that midfield now. But he's certainly an option. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, for 60 minutes.
I'm not disappointed when he's there.
That's the thing. Yeah, go on, Ez, elaborate on that one, because that's starting to piss me off.
Yeah, so that's my main criticism of him, that he doesn't seem to be able to last out a game. Whether that's because Cooper doesn't physically think. Yeah, well, that's what I don't understand, because he doesn't ever seem upset to be taken off, and that was my criticism of it. If it's not him, then why isn't he upset to be taken off? So for me, that's got to be a criticism. But he's lost something along the way for me. Whether it's a desire, whether it's a passion, whether he's just not being given the chances and he doesn't want to fight for it, I don't know. But early on in the season, I was very happy about him and the way he was linking up. And he was a proper dog in that midfield. You know, he'd get the ball back. He would progress it to an extent. I'm still agree with Ant that he doesn't seem to be able to. He seems to get to the middle third, to the final third, and then mess up. But I think he's let himself down, to be honest, more than anything else. I don't think Cooper's seeing enough in him in training or when he's on the pitch to have that faith in him. And is that down to Cooper or is that down to him partially? For me,
he can't play more than 60 minutes over the.
But this is it. But but he doesn't seem to be angry to be taken off. So is it him not being able to get through that, and he's not upset to be taken off at that stage? Because I would be. You'd think he would be at some point anyway.
He came back do you remember when he came back against Spurs in the League Cup?
Yeah.
And he was brilliant that game.
And then got himself sent off.
And then he got himself sent off. He just kept going all stop-starty. But ever since then, he's just completely faded off.
Well, that game in particular, he was doing what we were missing, and where the criticism of Hendo's distribution came, because he was picking up the ball from Hendo, and Hendo said he's a player, he comes and shows for it, and he was doing that, but he's even stopped doing that. But I think that was down to Freuler being in the team every time he plays. So I would possibly try him again without Freuler in that team, because he can possibly play that pivot and pick up the ball off the back four and then progress it forward. Don't take it too far, because you seem to not be able to get past too many steps, but pick up the ball from a goalkeeper and progress it forward, because we can't keep relying on the long ball. It's awful to watch.
Well, I've got to say, mate, I know you guys always tell me to shut up about it, but I want to re-raise it just one more time.
O'Brien.
Because him and Mangala had chemistry. Yeah. Whatever the issue was, it's at the detriment of the club that it did not get resolved. I don't
Yeah,
care if
100%.
he fell out with goddamn Marinakis himself. Nor am I saying O'Brien is the savior, by the way. Yeah. But there has to be a level of professionalism. Like, I work with people I can't stand. Yeah. I mean, I have to talk to you two when we do this show as an example. Yeah. But we still try and
Likewise.
remain professional. Yeah. And I'm sure the feeling is mutual. You do it for the benefit of the show or your work or whatever. Why is it that it's been accepted that because he's fallen out with, I don't know who it was, Yates, MG Dub, or
We
whoever it
don't know.
was,
Yeah.
that we can shun him off? I get there has to be cohesion on the pitch, but there has to be professionalism, yeah? And he was one of the only few midfielders that we had that would break through. A bit like how Yates does it, a bit like O'Brien does it as well. Quixote did it a little bit, which still baffles me because I've always had him down as a CDM. Yeah, but you've taken that out now. You've got Yates who's injured, and we've got a set of midfielders, apart from maybe Danilo, who can do it. You're looking at that game yesterday, and you're thinking that game probably would have suited O'Brien.
I agree 100% with everything you just said. You know what? Out of all the players we signed, he was the one that I was most impressed with at the beginning of the season. He really wowed me. I thought, what a player. And he's gone. For reasons we know not.
And 1865, I know we don't know what happened, but what I'm saying is I can't go into work tomorrow, on Monday, and say to them, yeah, I ain't going to work today because I don't like so-and-so who sits opposite me. And until he's removed and sent to DC United, then, you know, I'm just going to throw my toys out the pram. It doesn't work like that. Why is it different on a football pitch?
It's well known, isn't it, that Andy Cole and Terry Sheringham couldn't abide the sight of each other.
Yeah.
But my word, they always played and they played well together. You know?
Chris Sutton and Alan Shearer, they couldn't stand each other.
Yeah.
And they broke the record for most goals as a striking partnership, didn't they, in the Premier League? Yeah.
I'm sure. You know what? I'm sure it happens at every club. Not everybody's going to get on, are they?
Exactly.
Romario and Bebeto.
Let's be fair. Somebody said we don't know what happened, and they're absolutely right. I mean, it could be something really bad that we don't know about. I can't imagine that, but we don't actually know. You know.
It's just as strange for a player to get shunned like that, and that's what it seems to have been. He seems to have been shunned
because he was pissed in MGW's locker. You don't know, you know.
Yeah, but Ant, even that doesn't matter. The problem is, Ant, that's not the only example of it this season, is there? We saw Bardet come in and not get a run. We've seen Dennis shunned for most of the season, and then suddenly needs a must. And oh look, there is a quality player there. We're seeing it with Scarpa, which is pissing me off, which we'll talk about in a second. Yeah, there is a pattern forming of clicks in there. Like, for example, let's before we move on to that, I want to talk about Brennan Johnson. Yeah, we were all buzzing to see him start yesterday. However, what Cooper said after the match kind of annoyed me a bit, if I'm honest with you, when he said, yeah, he's not really fully fit. Yeah. So why was he risked if he's not really fully fit? Are we that dependent on one player, or is he that untrusting of putting a Scarpa in that position, which is his natural position, who could cover it? Because Brennan Johnson was kind of ineffective yesterday, and you could tell he was maybe a yard behind the pace of the game. Did that not become counterproductive for us in that game? Because Cooper was so adamant that he had to play Jono.
Well, you say everybody was buzzing when Jono was fit. I was kind of thinking, "Ooh, this is a chance for Scarpa to get in." So I wasn't quite buzzing as everybody else. I understand Jono's been fantastic recently. Yeah. You know, and a real threat. But I love Scarpa, so I thought, "Oh, there's a little chance here that Scarpa could get in from the beginning." And he got in with a minute to go. You know.
But I'm adamant that if Jono wasn't fit, he wouldn't have played Scarpa. He would have played Williams out there. That's what I reckon.
Yeah, because he subbed him on ahead of him, didn't he, even in the game?
Yeah. So I don't think Cooper would have played him even if Brennan wasn't available yesterday. But so there's something. I hope it's nothing, because Scarpa's fantastic, and I just think it was a little bit of an insult to play him as a quarterback for the last couple of minutes yesterday. Yeah, it was poor. It was poor.
Why did he do that? Why did he do that? I just that one really wound me up, right? Because you bring Scarpa on and you're going to use him He was when you see the video on Monday, he was our deepest player
It was, I could see it.
playing.
He
on
nearly got
the
caught
pitch.
out on a one-on-one as well. He nearly got caught out on a one-on-one because he hasn't got the pace to be able to take various attackers on. And I think he was left one-on-one with Isaac, and he just about managed to get out of it. But that's what we did. Brought him on. All the players lumped up one side of the field, and he from the kickoff when they scored their second goal, scored the penalty, he just launched it. What I would have loved to have seen, because everybody was up our left-hand side. There was a couple of players up the right. He had the ability to find that space there. I would have loved to have seen him do that because everyone was expecting the other thing. But it was poor. I just don't understand why you would play him. Why would you even bother? You know, if that's your only option when you've got 3 or 4 minutes left is to launch a ball into the corner. Yeah, I think it was poor tactics, to be honest, and disgraceful for me.
Yeah, but going back to the original point about Jono, though, should he have been risked, bearing in mind what Cooper said after the match, that he wasn't fully fit?
Even when I saw him, I expected him to only play an hour. But I don't know if he was... I don't know. He is such a potential match winner for us that even if you're only going to get an hour out of him, I'd start him. So I don't know.
Well, he did have that chance a few minutes from the end, didn't he? Where he was clean through. Should have buried it. Why did he keep kicking the ball into the middle of the goal at chest high? I don't get it. Why not try a low shot, Jono? Just occasionally, a low shot, you know. Then even if
I think it was a low shot. It was saved by the goalkeeper's feet, wasn't it? But it was just too central. He didn't go for any corner. He could have gone for the near corner, could have gone for a far corner. But he hit it pretty much straight at him, and the keeper made it look like a better save than it needed to be honest. But yeah, it was a chance wasted.
That literally is the difference. Had he put that away, I think it wasn't long to go at all, was it? If he'd have put that away, could have held on for a 2-1 win. How different would we be feeling today?
Yeah,
we'd be 12th in the league, and you know. So that's how tight the margins are. That's why I say don't say we're down because the margins are so tight. You know.
Yeah, ain't no one saying it on here, mate. But there are a few in the chat who are saying they're losing the belief on it, and you can understand it. You can understand.
I can understand people having doubts and worrying. Of course, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about Shelby, and it's a question here from Jake. Does Shelby remain a first-team selection? I feel like he's a liability and his passes are too wayward. And I want to start with you on this one, Shelby.
I like John Joe Shelby. I always have done. I've always thought he was a good player. He was injured. I mean, see, I don't like making excuses up for players and managers and what have you, but he was injured when he came in. It is a brand new team. He's perhaps being asked to play in a position that's not his best. I think he should be further forward than he's playing at the moment. So I'm giving him those caveats, those get-out clauses, in the hope that he will improve, his fitness will improve, he'll be played a bit further up the pitch, he'll find his passing range, which is generally pretty damn good. I mean, the Newcastle fans will tell you he can pass the ball. So I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah, but the Forest fans will tell you he's Hollywood FC at the moment.
Yeah, maybe that's because we haven't got the... Again, see, I don't want to make an excuse for players, but maybe that's because he hasn't got the players to pass to, you know.
It's the way we're playing, isn't it? That's forcing him to play that way.
We've not got wingers running into spaces. We've not got a forward making himself available. You know, it's hard.
We haven't got other midfielders making themselves available. You know, we don't pass it through our midfield. Again, we bypass our midfield every single time. It's a Hollywood ball, like you say, because that's how we're playing, and that's not totally his fault. And I think that's what Cooper wants from him. But there was a few wayward passes yesterday, without a doubt. Because if that's your only option, maybe 5 out of 10 are going to hit their target, you know, so he's not going to hit everyone plumb on the target. Problem is the way we play and the midfield, and he hasn't got legs around him. Even yesterday, Yatesy did try and progress the ball when he was there, but again, Yatesy hasn't got the skill on the edge of the area to be enough of an impact, to be honest. He tries his best, don't get me wrong, he does do his best, and
you're right, he can break into the box, but he can't carry the ball into the box. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
I agree
absolutely.
with that.
Yeah, it's not his game.
Yeah. But he was all over Willock yesterday.
He was Brian's game.
Oh yeah,
exactly. But did you, just on Yatesy, did you see him with Willock? I don't know if you guys could see it
Yes.
on the ground. He was
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
in his face. He was smiling and just
Yep.
nibbling at him and everything and all this stuff, really winding him up.
Well, because the first 10, 15 minutes, they were at Yatesy. They were trying to get a rise
Yeah,
out of Yatesy.
yeah.
So Willock left a little bit on him. I think it might have been ASM as well, but somebody else left a
Yeah.
little bit on Yatesy and just trying to get a rise out of him. And he fought back, and that's what I love about him. Absolutely love about him.
I thought Yatesy was really good yesterday.
Yeah.
You could really tell the difference with him in the side that it makes. You know,
It's
I
just a
just hope-
shame.
I just hope
Yeah.
his injury's not too bad.
This is it. This is just a shame that he seems to be picking up an injury every game, every time he's on the pitch. Or
He's that kind of player, though, and it's like Brian Robson kind of player where he puts himself in there and you're going to get hurt. That's what he does. He puts himself in where other players won't.
I
Yeah.
said he reminded me a bit of Keno yesterday, just in terms of
Yeah,
the
that
way he
kind of
went.
player, yeah. Keno, Brian Robson, that kind of
Yeah,
player.
I'm saying,
Well,
like, I'm not saying he's Keno level, but
No,
there's
no.
elements of the game. You know, the elements of the game are in there.
I think Keno said, didn't he, when he was at Forest, how much he admired Yates and
Yeah.
the way he
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it is,
yeah.
Gone.
Go on.
But
No, carry on.
they're probably. I want to talk about some positives, yeah, and it's a negative in its way. The East is Res bringing it up here on Dennis, yeah. We got to start with Vez. Is your agenda done? But before we do, Jack, thank you so much for becoming a member. You absolute legend. Really appreciate it. You enjoy all the member perks. Ez, your agenda with Dennis done now?
Can we? Well, it wasn't an agenda. I said what I saw. No, and can we just give me some praise, mate? Every time I slag a player off, he seems to get better. Apart from a certain someone. Anyway, he's got better. I called him shit about a month ago, and he's been the best I've seen him at Forest so far this season. So he scored a fantastic goal yesterday. Took it really well. I thought at times, unfortunately, because they got most of their action down our left-hand side. At times he was out of position, but that's where the midfielders have got to come across and help Loddy out, because he could. If you want him to be progressive, if you want Dennis to be progressive, he's going to be out of position a few times. You can't expect him to be a defensive winger. That's not his game. When he did get back, it made a difference, but when he was out of position, we were caught out on that side a few times. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic yesterday. For as good as I've seen him, he deserved his goal, took it really well, and yeah, I'm warming to him. You know, there was no agenda though, but my team talk seems to be working, mate. My pep talk, should I say? Anyway,
Yeah, I'll back Ed on that. I don't think he had an agenda. I just genuinely think.
I just like winding him up. Yeah.
I know. And to be fair,
however, and you did not have an agenda.
It wasn't producing, but you and I kept the faith because we had belief in him.
We got the knowledge, Ant. We got the knowledge.
well, I wouldn't go that far.
It was good yesterday. Well, it was very good yesterday. It was a proper threat and a danger. As you say, took his goal brilliantly. And one thing I liked, one thing I noticed is that occasionally Lodgy would get forward and Dennis would come back and cover that area, which I think is a pretty good thing for a winger to do. And he was doing that last night. I hope that Steve Cooper now believes in him and he keeps him in the team. Seriously.
But doesn't it annoy you?
Let's face it, he's not got a lot of competition for that left-hand forward side.
Exactly. That's the thing that's annoying me about it is, why was he not given a run earlier in the season to play on that left-hand side? I remember after the Villa match, Cooper calling him a striker. Yeah, not even like a left winger. He was literally referring to him as a number 9 almost. I just don't understand. And your point on the lack of competition on that left-hand side, for me, is a cracking one. Because at the start of the season, it was all about, let's keep Lingard going. It's Lingard, the big shiny name. Let's keep him in there. But everyone is forgetting that just how well Dennis performed for Watford in a crap team and just hasn't been given a run. And it's just, that's the thing that's infuriated me. How many goals have we missed out on with Dennis. Yes, he's going to make clangers. Yes, he's going to give the ball away. Yeah, but you have to be brave in football, and you have to leave players higher up the pitch. You do. We a lot of times in the game yesterday had 4 players in the Newcastle half. You had Dennis, MG Dub, IU, and Jono holding higher up. They weren't really pressing, but they had a bodily presence there, rather than what we've seen before, where it's all 11 players in our own pitch. At least it forces the Newcastle players to think a little better. Now, in the second half, that changed, and it became more the old school low block stuff. But yeah, it's just a little frustration for me on this whole Dennis thing. And you know, if he was from Nottingham, none of this shit would have been said about him.
No, do you know what I think the main problem is? That Cooper's kept faith in Lingard for so long.
Yeah.
And I didn't get, and I just, and see, my argument at the time was, well, Dennis isn't obviously doing enough in training to be getting in ahead of Lingard, but it's more to do with actually Cooper's unwavering faith in Lingard for so long, and I think Cooper's had enough of him as well. Because for that comment to come out that, you know, we're not going to be renewing Lingard's contract at the end of the season, that could only have come out with Cooper's blessing, and I think he's had enough as well. I think he's a nice guy, and he's too much of a nice guy at times, but if in those games, if that run of games that Lingard had was given to Dennis, yeah, I agree, Dennis would have done more with it. And that's a shame of it all, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 10 goals for a very poor Watford side for winning that season. That's no mean task. People mustn't underestimate that.
That's a huge task, man. Watford were atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
And we haven't got players on 10 goals yet, have we?
No.
And as we've said before, every time I speak to an opposing fan, who you were most afraid of, Johnson and Dennis. Every time. You know, to be fair, I couldn't believe it when we signed him. I thought, wow, bloody hell. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he doesn't get a chance. But let's hope. Let's try and, keep on the positive train. Let's hope now. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say is that there were a lot of Forest fans around me. I don't know if you got the same as, but a lot of Forest fans around me saying, give it to Dennis, or Dennis does, or Dennis does. You know, they were really getting on his side.
As the game went on, certainly, 100%. Yeah,
you could
100%.
see he was a danger, you know. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we need to look. One more negative topic before we start to turn this round, okay? Because a lot of the guys in the chat are asking. MG Dub.
Crap.
Yeah, what's going on? There's lack of form, and I've tried to give him the excuse of return too quickly from injury. But everything that's been said about Dennis honestly can be pointed at Morgan Gibbs-White in terms of giving the ball away. He's always the highest giver of the ball away. I don't care about that if he's progressing the ball forward. I've got no problems with that. There was a couple yesterday where his passes were too heavy. He could have played. I can't remember who it was for. It was a diagonal. Yeah, it was to Jono. Yeah. Too much on it. There was the odd cross. The corners were still hitting the first man as well. Is it time? And we are MG Dub fan club here, yeah? But I'm going to ask the tough question. Is it time that he's dropped and maybe Scarpa put in as the number 10? Or am I jumping the gun here? Guys in the chat, what do you think? I don't know who wants to take this first. This is a big question.
I think the international break should do him some good. But if I was any player that I would swap him out with, it would be for Scarpa. But I think the international breaks come at the right time for him, to be honest. I think he needs a little bit of a...
He's going away on the under-21s, man.
He is, but it's a different atmosphere he's going to be in, a different environment he's going to be in, and the change is as good as the rest, so maybe that will give him some sort of a boost, hopefully. I'm hoping for that. But I do think there's a hell of a lot of pressure being put on him, and too much on his shoulders at the moment, and he's never been the main man like he is here, certainly not in a Premier League team. He was the main man for Sheffield United in that second half of their season, but this is the Premier League, and the pressures that come with that, are untold, and it's not something that he's used to at this level. So maybe that's got to him. But I wouldn't be opposed to sitting him out for a half and starting Scarpa. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But yeah, international.
Is he undroppable? Is he a Cooper?
No, he's not. No player is undroppable.
From our point of view, from Cooper's point of view.
Yes and no, but yeah, we've seen that again. Lingard is a perfect example of how he was undroppable at times when the performances weren't there. For me, I hope not. I hope Cooper doesn't look at any player like that.
I
And
think
he
he
just,
does, mate. I think he
yeah,
does.
well, I hope he doesn't, but you're possibly right. But I think this, like I said, I think this international break might give him the refresh that he needs, because we're going to be going into basically the final stretch of this season after this international break, and we need every one of our top players not only top of their form and the physical fitness, but mentally. This is going to be more mental than physical than anything else. This running, so we need players with their heads in the right place. I hope he can get back to it, because we know he's such a fantastic game changer when he's on it. But there has been a lot of pressure put on him and a lot of hype as well.
Yeah, and I want your take on this one, and I also want you to address Mark's point about what Wolves fans are saying as well.
Yeah.
But start with what you think on the MGW thing.
I don't necessarily. I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but I don't necessarily agree that an international break's going to do him any good. He's only playing one game a week. It's not like it's not going to be knackered, is it? Come on, let's be honest. I think he's well. I'm hoping he's just woefully out of form, and not that this is MGW, because he has been dreadful. I mean, absolutely dreadful. He can't take a corner, which is poor for any professional footballer. He can't take a corner. He can't shoot. Every time he gets the ball, and this is where I will mention the Wolves fans. So one thing that concerned me when we bought him is I had a number of comments sent to me saying, tricks and flicks, you'll get fed up with him. Tricks and flicks, loses the ball. And my God, that has come home to roost, because it's all tricks and flicks and losing the ball. The guy can barely pass a ball to a Forest player. I'm not getting at him from a personal point of view. This is how
Kind of sounds like you are, mate.
No, but it's not a personal point of view.
I'm joking.
I'm talking about him as a footballer for Forest, and he ain't doing it.
And you were in a sorry, just a quick point. You were in Upper Trent End with me yesterday. I hear a lot of negativity towards MG Dub at the moment. I have done for the last few games. I've mentioned it in the streams before. Did you hear that as well? Because every time he makes a mistake, the boos, I mean, not but the grumbles and the mumbles, like Dennis used to get, Gibbs White's getting right now.
It's bound to, because it's an accumulation, isn't it? When the shiny new toy comes in and he makes a few mistakes, you don't care because it's great, But over a period of game after game after game, and it keeps happening, of course the fans are going to start to get pissed off with it, and they are starting to get pissed off. But everyone still loves him, but they're starting to get pissed off with the way he's playing at the moment. And for me, I wouldn't think half a second about dropping him and bringing Scarpa in. Not half a second. I'm sorry, but there's no way that Scarpa cannot, at this moment in time, be an improvement on MGW in the way he's performing. That's not to say that MGW is a crap. It's not to say that MGW will never play any good for us, but he ain't doing it right now, and we need players right now. And Scarpa, for me, all right, people say he's not proven at Forest. True, but you got to play him to prove it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to lose at the moment. It's not like you're thinking, oh, shall we take this brilliant player out and try that one? You're saying, shall we take this
out of form
player?
Yeah. It's a great point.
Scarpa? And you're trying the Brazilian player of the year. You're not bringing in some youngster. You're not bringing in some nobody. You're bringing in a championship and Libertadores. I think it's Libertadores. Is it Libertadores?
Copa Libertadores. Yeah.
Winning player, the best player at that club. You're not bringing in a nobody. So yeah, for me, no, it's not even a thought. MGW out, Scarpa in.
Go on, Ness.
No, I'm just going to go back on my point, because Ant talked about his physicality. I don't think
sorry. I've got to address this.
Go on.
I've seen Scarpa play more fantastic balls with that left foot of his in one game than I've seen MGW do all season. Okay. Sorry,
I agree with that. He's got a wonderful left foot, and we saw it in one game.
I don't agree with that.
His range of passes. What? Go on.
I don't. I think MGW's vision is brilliant. Like I'll
It's all right
go back
having
to the
vision if you
Leicester.
can't pass the bloody ball. It don't matter, does it?
Think back to the Leicester game. Those through balls for both goals with Jono were sublime.
Yeah, but they weren't whipped out with curl onto the
It
player's
doesn't.
toe.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to look like a
Yeah,
Hollywood pass every time.
I refuse to fall out with you on this because we're agreeing, but we're having slightly different.
I know. Yeah, I know. Now I'm just again trying to balance the equation on it. Look, Ant is not here saying "fuck MG Dub, he's shit, get
Not
him
at
out."
all.
Yeah.
Not
No.
at all. Not
I
at
think-
all.
What I've took from what you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, is he's out of form. We have a player who's at the very least at the same ability with more experience who could slot in and replace him and see how that goes. Why should we not try him? We're not saying
He's out of form. He's not a crap player.
Yeah.
He's just out of
No.
form.
And just to touch on what Ant said about, you know, the international break not really making a difference, I don't think he's physically tired. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's in the head. I think it's mentality. And that's probably why we haven't seen Scarpa for the last couple of weeks. What's been going on behind the scenes for him obviously is going to have an effect on his psychology. And maybe that's why Cooper's kept him out. Because he wasn't even on he wasn't technically on the bench away to Spurs, was he? You know, he was. He travelled with the squad. Yeah, he travelled with the squad, but he wasn't, like I say, he wasn't in playing
that's
mode.
what I want to ask you.
But that might be psychologically he wasn't ready to play. You know, that's why Cooper didn't put him on the bench.
Is Cooper in a way happy about? I don't mean happy in the sense of the word happy, but how can I phrase this better? Is Cooper using this crypto scam as an excuse to keep Scarpa out the team? Is this a whole Barde thing 2.0?
I genuinely don't believe so. I genuinely don't believe so.
Really?
But at the same time, his substitutions yesterday kind of makes you think maybe it is. But I don't think it is. I think after the international break, I think you'll see Scarpa a lot more. I genuinely think we will. I think he's just his head's not been in the right place. And
Where would you see him? Where would you see him? Like, assuming we come back after the international break, right?
Yeah.
And you've got Awoni fit, Jono fit, MG Dub fit, whoever else fit as well. Let's just say we
Dennis
had a
fit.
full squad of
Yeah.
attacking players. So you got Lingard fit, Dennis fit, and so on. Where would you see Scarpa? Where would you see Cooper putting Scarpa?
Well, if we're all fit, unfortunately, I don't see him starting.
That's my point.
Yeah, that's my point. I think
He won't drop MG Dub for him. He won't drop Jono for him.
Exactly, and he won't drop Dennis if Dennis carries on showing the form. Dennis's position is the only one that's really up for grabs, but I think he's got to be given another game, you know. So, yeah, I think right now it's difficult, but he's got to be given more than injury time to play. That's my point. He's got to come on much sooner in the game, and I think once this international break is out of the way, I know I'm putting a lot on what will happen after, but we've got 3 very massive games in a week when we get back, and we need all our players mentally, physically in the right place, as I've mentioned, and I think the squad will come into play then. And that's the issue. I agree. We've had too much swapping and changing with the lineups, but we haven't been able to have a consistent thing. But I think with the formation now and with the players he's got available, we will see a bit more consistency. But at the same time, we've got, like I said, we've got a massive week coming back, so we need players available at all stages of the game. And he's got to use his subs right over that week. Sorry, go on.
Just waving.
Fantastic. Sorry.
I was waving. Brad saying thanks tonight for the therapy, guys. And Sharky's saying we're 16th at the moment. Steve saying, why are we letting Brennan join up with the Wales squad when there is a doubt on his fitness? Cloughy wouldn't have allowed it, and Man U and Liverpool wouldn't comply to it. Do you know what, Steve? You make an absolute cracking point. It's a joke. When we have been stung by what happened to Newcastle earlier on in the season, how the hell can they go and repeat the same, I'm going to say it, stupidity by doing this? I don't care if he's 90% fit or 95% fit, yeah? Why risk him? I remember he's spot on with what he says about Liverpool, Man U, yeah? If they've even had diarrhea the night before, they weren't being released by Fergie.
Ryan Giggs famously didn't play a friendly for Wales for, what was it, 10 or 11 years or something. Every single friendly they had, he got called up for. He had an injury.
Yeah,
every single one, literally.
But maybe it's a Welsh sympathy from
Cooper
Coops, you know. That's what I just said. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but it's not. Maybe it's a case of, look, Brennan's going to be hungry, wants to get caps in and all that. You understand that, right? But there has to be like this again. I'm going to say this has to come from the medics. Have to be firm with Cooper and say to him, he's not to be released. He's not fit enough, or there's a risk.
I was going to say to you, I understand that you have some slight doubts about our medical team, but surely Wales have got their own medical team. Would they want to, or don't they give a shit? I don't know. Or would they
probably
be
better than ours? But
the thing is, I don't think Cooper's all this gamesmanship that we've seen from Fergie and Wenger in the past. That comes with experience and having a bit of like nous about you. I don't think Cooper's there just yet to be able to pull those triggers and say, but no, he's not going. But did I read somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, that Niakarte's been called up as well for Senegal? I read that somewhere. I don't know how true it was.
I haven't seen that. I hope you're wrong.
And I hope I'm wrong. I genuinely hope I'm wrong. But, you know, I think...
To be fair, if he's fit and playing in a Premier League team, Senegal will have every right to expect him to play.
They do have every right to, but this is where you...
I'm not saying that's what we want. I'm saying from Senegal's point of view, why wouldn't they call him up? You know? And how can we say no? The guy played last night.
But it always seems to come... Do you remember Jamie Redknapp? He used to always become miraculously fit just before a World Cup tournament, and Darren Anderton would probably be the better example. Just before the Euros or a World Cup tournament. And it's like Niakate's returned to fitness when they had their friendly back in October, and now he's returned to fitness now that they're having their friendly again. I'm like, what condition is he going to come? He has been called up. Easter's Red says he has been called up.
Oh my God.
That is going to have me on the edge of my seat for 2 weeks.
On a slightly different note, why the fucking hell are international friendlies being played? What's the point?
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
It's all the money. It's all about money, mate.
What money? Does anyone enjoy an international friendly? I like a World Cup. I like a good Euros. Yeah. I'll even watch Copa America. Yeah. I do not give a crap about friendlies or the qualifying. Because it's always versus Moldova or some crappy team that, it's a win. Just default the win, man, and just get on with it. There should be...
And it's only in England that anybody turns up to watch them. I mean, we fill Wembley Stadium for friendlies. Anywhere else in the world, they play them at some ground in the middle of nowhere in front of about 4,000. Nobody gives a shit.
It's not even that. You don't get an upset, right? And when you do, all it does is make the actual main competition worse. Like Italy weren't in the World Cup, yeah? I'd rather have watched Italy play than, I don't know, Zimbabwe or something. No offense to Zimbabwe, but they weren't even in there themselves.
No offense to Zimbabwean watchers.
Love our fellow tricky Zimbabweans, but you get what I mean. I'll be all right. Let me do it with an Arab country. I would rather have watched Italy play than Algeria play. But then you're gonna say Morocco were decent. Well, they're pretty low pocket. But you know what I'm saying? You want the big boys in the tournament, don't you? You do. Yeah, I'm digging away here. As I'm gonna go to you.
What about Faroe Islands? Yeah, that's a fairly safe one.
There you go. No one's from there.
No. I mean, I'm done with international football, whether it's a tournament or not. I don't give a shit, to be honest. I just want our players, if they are there, they do their best and they come back safe. That's all I'm bothered about. I'm not really bothered about how teams do. But that's friendlies,
isn't it? You're watching the World Cup thinking, yo, bro, don't get injured, man. We need you next week, and all this stuff. It's just
what happens? We get our players injured, But I can't give a shit.
Brett, I love you, Brett. I love Zimbabwe. I'm gonna lie and say I've been there. It's a beautiful country. I'm gonna sound like one of those racists.
One of his best friends is from Zimbabwe.
That's exactly my next line. My best friend's from Zimbabwe, as you'd hear all the racists say, Brett. It's a lovely country. But I ain't gonna watch you play football. I'll be straight with you.
You know what? I don't know whether it's because I've got older or whether it's because Forest have been down the dumps for so long. Maybe I've changed my mind on this thought, but if I had to choose between England, and I am a patriot, I'm patriotic, I love my country, and I love to watch England win. Well, yeah. But if I had the choice right now, of England winning the World Cup or Forest staying in the Premier League, I wouldn't even have to think twice about it. It'd be Forest staying in the Premier League. That's how I feel.
Of course.
Yeah. See, Tim's having some strong thoughts about Coops in there. He's pissed at him, and I don't blame him, to be honest. It's.
I thought we were getting on to the positives. What happened? Didn't last long, did it?
Oh no, we are going on to the positives now. Wait, what are the positives? I just want to address this because the guys in the chat are chatting about
This
it.
is a positive. 2 weeks break because I feel knackered. I feel knackered
Mate,
after these
I'm
run
so
games, mate.
looking
I'm so
forward to it.
exhausted.
Yeah.
We've got some fantastic shows coming up just to fill in this gap over 2 weeks, so look out for those guys.
But I do feel like I need a break from watching the actual our Forest team playing football.
The stress.
It's stressful.
It's the stress, man. It's the stress. It's the whole build up to the game.
Yeah.
It's the whole you lift your expectations up. Like yesterday, I blame Carl. Carl, he knows what I'm talking about. On Twitter, I got all excited. He got me excited when we saw the team sheet. And I went from thinking we're getting tonked to we're going to tonk them. Yeah. And it's like you go through that roller coaster of emotions and then I mean, and you couldn't talk after the game. I had to sit there and do the bloody player ratings, man. I had to do the player ratings.
I know, I felt so bad for you, mate. I watched them back today and I was like, oh, how did you get through that, mate?
He balls them up, didn't he?
Because you were, pretty much. I mean, I could see he was feeling like you were at the end of the game, and probably me as well. I mean, I got home before I sent him my post-match, so I had like half an hour in that traffic to kind of calm myself down a little bit. But then I listened to Cooper's post-match, and I was like, sometimes I think he's deluded. I genuinely do, but.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back to the positive.
I am getting to the positives. I just want 2 points because they're talking about in the chat about Cooper, right? Yeah. I will give you my stance still on Cooper. I still think if he should have gone, he should have gone before the World Cup. Now is too late, in my opinion. You change managers now, you're asking for trouble. Simon says, thoughts on getting Nuno in the ex-Wolves manager. He took Wolves from the Championship to Europa League football and established themselves as an established Premier League club. You and Si have been at it back and forth all day, Ant, so you get to answer this question for Si.
What was the question?
Nuno.
Nunes.
You mentioned Steve Cooper. I thought, oh, here we go again.
Nuno Espirito de Santo.
We ain't changing manager, right?
No.
Keep telling people, forget it. Stop talking about it. It ain't happening. I don't give a shit if we got him and if we got him. It's not happening, right? Steve Cooper will be our manager to the end of the season. Now, at the end of the season, it's time to sit and think, where do I want to go? What do we need? Is this manager the right one? But right now, you may as well get behind the guy because it's not changing.
Hold on. To play devil's advocate with you. If we go get tonked by Wolves, who we got after them? Leeds and then Villa. 4-0, 4-0, 4-0. You still think Cooper will be in a job?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, it is tricky. Look.
I know.
I'm basing it on the assumption that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to say what would happen if those circumstances happen because I can't imagine them happening. Yeah, maybe he would. Maybe he would pull the trigger if it was 4-0, 4-0, 4-0. Maybe.
But then is it too late?
I'll tell you about what I just said about it's definitely not happening. I shouldn't perhaps say that. I'm assuming that if we carry on pretty much the way we are, picking up a point here, point there, staying within the conversation, I think that his job will not be under threat until the end of the season. As I say, at the end of the season, that could change because Marinakis is a very ambitious man, and I do believe he's got a genuine fondness for this club and he wants us to do well. So it could change at the end of the season, but right now, unless those exceptional, let's put it that way, unless those exceptional circumstances happen, and I don't think they're going to, then I think he's safe until the end of the season.
What do you think, guys, in the chat? Do you think Cooper's fully safe come what may? I mean, I kind of see Si's point, where he's saying, imagine if the Everton fans had just stayed behind Lampard, where would they be now? He's talking about the Dyche factor and everything. What I will say is there are plenty of Forest fans who are Cooper before they're Nottingham Forest. I don't give a shit what they say. They are definitely that way inclined.
Can I just say very quickly about that? I won't go on about Dyche, but about the Everton thing. They were in a far more perilous position than we are when they got rid of Lampard. It's not the same situation at all.
But are we getting towards that position ourselves now?
No, we're not. We're not, are we? Because we're about 3 points off 12. So we're not. They were stinking the place out. And I think to be honest, I think any manager going in there would have been an improvement on Lampard. I mean.
Yeah, but it's interesting what the guys in the chat are saying. Brett's saying Cooper's safe. we'd end up with Frank Lampard or Stevie G,
Yeah,
says
yeah.
Tricky Mickey.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah.
Yeah. Easter's Red saying we could get Vieira if that happens. If we go down, he's
Not won
going
a game
down as
since,
well, not
won a
sacked.
game in the not won a game in the new year. Went 3 years without 3 games without having a shot on target. Is that who we want, really?
Are you going to talk about your beloved Invincibles like that, Ant?
What? Oh yeah.
He forgot.
He'd be your dream manager,
I'd
wouldn't
have had him as a player. Maybe even now.
Jonathan saying Cooper should go at the end of the season out of his depth in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think that's when the conversation needs to take place.
That's the point I was going to make. Let's do what we need to do. Let's do enough, and let's just have that conversation at the end of the season.
I've got to say,
don't see the point in doing it now.
I agree. There's no point in doing it now, but if we go down, then there will be a point where it's got to be looked back on what happened before the World Cup, and was it the right decision? James saying would love Company. I mean, Company's cutting it in the Championship, but Cooper cut it in the Championship.
Yeah,
he did. So but I guess you could argue Company's. You can't even say Company's cut it. He's won the Premier League and all that, because then you could look at the likes of Lampard and Gerrard. It's all a different kettle of fish there. This is a long debate. Look, I think this is a debate for another day.
But very quickly, there have been other managers in the past. Villas-Boas off the top of my head, but others as well, that have had like a fantastic season with an unfashionable club, and everybody's raved about them as the next big thing, and then they've gone to a Premier League club, and
so the problem is they've always gone to Spurs, and Spurs is just a graveyard. That's what it is, isn't it? Nunes, AVB, all of those. Man.
We did the same thing with bloody McLaren after he had that season in Holland, didn't he? Where he put the accent on and everything. But managers go through these spells. I just don't. Yeah, I'm just to kill. Well, not to kill the point, but my point would be it's too late in the day to do anything now, and I don't think it's going to be.
I think there's still some that would argue that it's not too late because of the manager bounce and the manager bounce being strong. I think again, it's not my position, but I can understand it. If you get a manager bounce and you can win one game, get a draw, and you get 4 points from that manager bounce, that then puts you on 31 points in our position. And can you limp it across the line? So short-termism, is it better than the long-termism, potentially? So that, for me, would be the argument that people are saying. I don't think you can guarantee it from our fixtures. That's my thing with it.
Let's be honest. You're absolutely right. I mean, I've poo-pooed the new manager bounce quite a bit. I say that because I don't think it's necessarily true. It's not a guarantee, but there is such a thing. I do agree there's such a thing. In fact, you don't even need a new manager bounce. You can often have a no manager bounce. I've seen teams that have had bad managers or poor set of results. The manager goes, they've not brought anybody in yet, and then they go on to win the next game or two.
Bournemouth, when they brought in that O'Neill guy, whatever his name is, at the start of the season.
So I don't think it's this is my point with people when they say bring him in, new manager. I don't think it's always a new manager bounce. I think it's got rid of the crap manager bounce.
And I think the thing that kind of leads towards that is when you see that the manager's losing the dressing room or has lost the dressing room. I'm not quite seeing that, from Forest players. I think once that becomes obvious, and Marinakis won't, Marinakis won't hesitate to pull the trigger because he is notoriously trigger happy. What he's done with Cooper this season, what we've done as a club, is quite unprecedented. With all the negativity that surrounded Cooper at one point of the season, 99% of clubs would have got rid of their manager, and we gave him a new contract.
But was it the right decision? We won't know till the end of the season.
We won't know till the end of the season, and that's the thing that we've got to kind of hope on.
It's always an impossible. Even if we go down, it's still an impossible question to answer, because even had we brought in a new manager at that time, there's no guarantee we would have stayed up.
Well, look, I don't want to get into this whole debate.
It's a bit boring, isn't it?
The last thing I'll say on it is look where Villa were. Villa were below us, when they got rid of, what's his face, Gerrard.
Gerrard.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the time, and I'll hold my hands up, I poo-pooed it. I thought, he's not the manager to get him out of a relegation fight, but he has
brilliant.
done.
He's sorted them out.
He's
They're on
been
the beach
fantastic.
right now.
But that's not a new manager bounce, is it? That's replacing a crap manager with a good manager.
Yeah.
Or a better manager, you could say. So anyway, it's not the debate we're having today, right? We got another topic we need to talk about, and that is IU, because you guys want to talk about him. Now, I just want to set the scene on this one. Watching him yesterday, I called him a bit of a pigeon, not in a bad way, yeah. But for me, what I saw from him,
in a good way, pigeon in a good way.
But sorry, before we go into that, can I just
a bit of a twat, not in a bad way.
Can I just respond to this a little bit, because we're talking about short memories. I mean,
no.
It may not be aimed at us, but there's been certain comments about being fair weather fans and this, that, and the other. Can I just remind people, these are the same people who were slagging off Chris Hughton and the whole regime at the time, every single player. So memories are very short for a lot of people. They may not have slagged Cooper off yet, but they did with the previous manager. So let's not pretend that we're all holier than thou and nobody's ever criticised Forest or any other players. So yeah.
Remember when we were having Fawaz days, back in the day?
To follow that up, if it's my opinion, and I'm not saying this is the case, I'm just putting forward a point of view. If it's my opinion that I don't think Steve Cooper's the correct manager for our team at the moment, does that make me a fair weather fan and I don't deserve success? Or is it, I love my club and I think we could do better with a different manager?
Club before manager every time. Club before any player. Your club comes first.
I will still say it. I don't think Cooper is the best we can have at Forest in terms of tactical nous in the Premier League. I don't think he's fully got it yet. Maybe it comes with time, but right now he hasn't. He's only got this low block plan. He hasn't even really got a plan B, yeah? But we are where we are now, and, the dice have been rolled.
Okay, let's go on to IU, Go back to IU.
Speaking of favourites FC, IU. Now, I said about him yesterday, he reminded me a bit of a pigeon or a dog in between two frisbees at the park. He was pressing, but not really effectively pressing for me. In terms of, if a centre-back got it, he would chase it, close it down. He was doing the donkey work between there. And I saw him flicking the ball on a lot. I didn't think too much of his performance, nor did I think it was a bad performance. I thought it was an indifferent performance, yeah? But you guys were coming out quite raving about him from what you saw in the match. I'd be interested in what the chat think on him as well. And there was definitely a divide between people who saw it on TV and people that watched him in the stadium. So obviously, I'm guessing you guys got a deeper perspective of him off the screen on what he was doing. And you were quite strong on this one. So I don't know, we'll start it with you.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, I was impressed with the little cameo appearance he made in previous matches. I thought he did well. And in the match last night, I saw a lot that I really liked. He did put a lot of effort in, which, okay, that's basic, but he put a lot of effort in. He was closing down as best as he could. He was often doing it on his own, which ain't easy. And I think he's absolutely amazing in the air for not a tall guy. He won a lot of headers. But not only did he win headers, he was actually directing the headers a lot of time to other players as well, which was something we don't see. Also, he was very, very neat on the ball. He's got very quick feet. He kept doing little 1-2s, passing the ball. Very rarely gave the ball away. I thought he had a really good game, and I was very pleased with it. And I certainly think that he's got a place in that team going forward. What do you reckon, Ez?
I have to agree with you, Anne. I saw a lot of I saw a lot of effort from him, and kind of on the point that Wolverine made about him pressing. But that's not his fault. He was pressing, and Gibbs White wasn't pressing with him.
I'm not saying he's doing it bad. I'm not saying he's doing it bad.
No. But it doesn't work when one player's pressing. So he was doing the right thing, and I could see him. I mean, this is probably what you don't see on the TV screen. But he's pulling them forward and saying, "Come on, join me." He was doing that, and there was a couple of points that Ant made about his flick-ons. There was one, especially in the second half, where he flicked out to from a header out to Loddy and got us on the front foot and in acres of space, But Wood, for all his height and supposed power, I don't see him doing that. So I think he was it was really good yesterday. I won't go as far as fantastic, but as good. But my problem is, when he came off, he was blowing about 20 minutes before he was actually taken off. he did a lot of running, and I think Cooper should have taken him off sooner. But I don't agree that Surridge just didn't work for me yesterday. He was very poor yesterday when he came on, and that's maybe a slightly different point, and we might disagree on that, but I thought Surridge was poor when he came on.
I had to bite my tongue yesterday because I had quite a few people around me saying, "Come on, bring Sam up. Why is he not bringing Surridge up?"
Clamouring for Sam, weren't they? The Trent End clamour for Sam, like, honestly.
They were singing as it was coming on Super Sam. I'm thinking, sorry, I don't see it. I don't see it.
And I didn't see it yesterday either, I've got to say.
Livy, thanks for subbing. Sorry, go on.
I would pick Ayew over. Sorry, did we miss a sub there? Thank you.
No, go on, it's fine. Livy,
I would pick Ayew over Sam Surridge every day of the week. I mean, his talent is on a different level, in my opinion, on a different level to Sam Surridge. You know, his effectiveness. Yeah, we were quite impressed with him.
Yeah.
Would you pick him over Wood?
You gave him a 4.9.
Would you pick him over Wood? Yes, I'd pick him over Wood. I'd pick him over Surridge, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm building up to the real question. Would you pick him over Awoniyi?
No.
No,
not as a centre forward. Not as a centre forward, I wouldn't. But I'd pick him over as a forward midfield player, or playing on the left or whatever. I'd pick him over Taiwo then. But as a pure out and out number 9 focal point in a 4-3-2-1 or 4-2-3-2-1, whichever way it is.
4-2-3-1, yeah.
Yeah, I would pick away because Awoniyi is a centre forward. I mean, Ayew's not a centre forward in my opinion. He's a forward, but not a centre forward.
And a quick reminder, guys, don't forget you can insta-win Awoniyi's shirt if you are ticket number 100 in the MGW giveaway with our mates at Football Prizes. It's a signed, framed MGW shirt. There's only 41 tickets left. I'm just checking now. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys. If you hit ticket number 100, now it's not a case of you don't buy ticket 1 and the next person gets ticket 2. It's randomly generated. Oh my god, Crypto Rider, no, ticket 101. That's harsh, bro. 1 off.
Right, yeah, that's like it's in the ball, misses as good as a mile. You may as well.
Yeah, exactly. But don't forget, you're still in to win the MGW one, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So let me pin that in the chat for you guys now. If you do want, there's only 41 tickets. Now, what I do know is that if the tickets all sell out early, they will do the draw on the next available slot. So if everyone got their tickets, who wants their tickets, goes and gets it, then you know it will be done earlier. Yeah. Okay, right, I want to move it on to the real question here, and this is where I'm hoping we get some positivity. Are Forest staying up? We'll run a quick poll on this one. Ez, I know you got to shoot off in a sec, so I want to start it with you.
We've got loads more positives to talk about yet. We've not even mentioned Newcastle.
Okay,
I've got to catch. I got an early flight in the morning, mate. So I've got to. Yeah.
All right, we'll jump back to Newcastle in a second because that needs to be addressed. And are you good to go on for like another 20 minutes or so?
Yeah.
All right, Ez, give us your final thoughts. Are Forest staying up?
Will we stay up? Yes, I believe we will, mate. I think it'll be a bit more squeaky bum than I anticipated when we were doing our predictions, and we will revisit those during the international break as well, guys. But for me, we'll do enough to stay up. I think the players coming back with the amount of games we still got to play, and I did mistakenly say it was 9 games, but we've got 11 games to go. I think we'll get enough points to keep us up and keep us safe, but only just. Cool.
All right, you can piss off.
Can I go? Thank you.
You may. You have an excuse.
Yeah, see you later, guys. Come on, you Reds.
Now he's gone, and we can talk properly, mate. Oh, he's still there.
Still backstage. Keep his arms.
All right, you want to talk about Musa?
Yeah. You could see he was rusty. I mean, that's fair enough. He's coming to a Premier League game against one of the best teams in the country, literally.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be all at it, but it was such a pleasure to see him. He did a lot of good work.
It was heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, I know.
the mistake was heartbreaking, wasn't
I'm
it?
not quite. I saw the replay today, and I was kind of grateful that it was an obvious one because I didn't want it to be one of those where the player heads in, he hits his arm. No,
Yeah.
I don't. Why was his arm up there? I don't get it. I just don't.
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
mean, it was literally the definition of an unnatural position. He wasn't using his arms to jump. It was. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But it was such a shame. 'Cause I wasn't
I got,
expecting to last the 90 minutes, to be honest. And the fact that he did, I was pleased about. And then that happened.
but I kind of want to call myself out about it a bit, right? If that was Yates, I would have slaughtered him. I did say Niakate was at fault for it, obviously. I mean, that's like, suck an egg saying that one. But should I have been harsher on him? Well, what are your thoughts on this? Like, because I would have gone in on Worrell. I'm not. I know me. I would have absolutely
No,
slaughtered
yeah, yeah.
Worrell.
I don't think anybody would be surprised about that revelation. If you're in Worrell, you'd have gone in on him.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say because we love him and we know he's a good player. We know he's a good player. We know that he's not, hopefully, doubtful that he'll do that again. He obviously it has upset him, and which it should do, because he cost us 2 points. Sorry, he cost us a point, which could be,
Crucial.
crucial. But I don't think we should go in hard on him. He's made a mistake, and it's not like certain other centre backs that have made lots of mistakes. He's made a mistake, a bad mistake. First game back, 93rd minute or whatever. Such a shame for everybody. But yeah, we need to give him a bit of time, don't we? A bit of understanding because we're biased towards him.
Yeah. No. Look, I will say to justify myself. Yeah, on my thinking of why I did or did not kick off too much about it was his first game back and a first mistake. Yeah, if that becomes a pattern, then it's an issue.
Yeah. If in the next game he goes
yeah.
into somebody in the penalty area and knocks them over, then you start to say, well, hang on a sec, this is not the player we thought it was.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing as well is that I can't remember who I was speaking to yesterday, but they said to me, let's face it, if Warren was playing, we probably would have conceded another 2 or 3. Now, that's all subjective and that's all hindsight talk, but it is what it is. But what I will say is you can see the embryonic seeds. That's not even a phrase, but you know what I'm saying here. Between
you double barrel in there, aren't you?
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Him and Felipe, can we talk about the biggest positive of the game? I think that partnership will definitely work, yeah?
You could see with Newcastle on the left, you could see he's a left-sided centre-back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could see it. Yeah. It'll come.
But Felipe,
And that's one of the reasons that I have positivity about us going forward. Because if those two both stay fit, and we've got Bolly to come back as well, but if those two stay fit, and we've got Logier and Aurier, I think that's a good back four. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's a good start, isn't it?
All right, but I want to talk about Felipe. For me, the biggest positive yesterday is that man beast that is Felipe. I think, well, you said it actually. I'm going to put this on you. You said he's one of the best defenders you've seen for a long time. Now, were you talking at the City grounds in general or ever?
On his performances so far and his performance last night, I've not seen many defenders that I would rather have in my team than him. He was magnificent. You know when he goes to head a ball, he heads it. Every time.
Nails it, yeah.
He heads it, he goes up and he bangs it. You know what I mean? There's no coming off the top of all that. He wins the headers. You know his physical strength, when he goes in for tackles, he nails it. Players bounce off him.
Yeah. And he puts his body on the line and he blocks balls, proper blocks them. Yeah,
he knows where to be. His positional sense is second to none. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I knew Felipe, but I didn't know much because I don't watch Spanish football. So I didn't know, but I knew of him. But having seen him, I think, God almighty, this is what we've been missing. A proper centre-half. Power, pace.
And what Simon's saying there, he's hardly sweating either. Wait till he starts putting effort in. I know he's kidding, but he's not sweating because he's in the right places.
When he joined us in his interview, it's like, no, I'm fuck off relegation. No, I'm thinking about Europe.
Yeah, absolutely.
mentality.
That's the attitude. Yeah. So
He
for me,
struts
that was the biggest
about. He
positive.
owns it. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm waxing lyrical, aren't I? But
Yeah,
love
just
the
careful
guy.
you don't get some Chris Wood down there, mate. And I just want to go to the messages from the chat on him. Smithy's saying Felipe doesn't speak English. He can't be captain, because I think Mickey was there alluding to captain material. I would agree with him being captain material. Now, I'm not saying take it. Well, Worrell's technically out of the team. I don't mind it being Yates. But I
No.
always like my captain to be a centre back. I don't know why. It's just my thing. I like a centre back or a CDM as a captain. I hate it when a goalkeeper's a captain. That really winds me up.
Or even a centre forward looks weird being a captain.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think he is captain material. Now, you're saying he doesn't speak English. Football's a universal language. His actions on the pitch are
I
what
agree with that. Don't need to speak
kind of
English.
drives the captaincy from him. For me. So I wouldn't be opposed to him being a captain. I don't know. What do you think, Anne? Is he captain material?
No, he is. It's quite obviously he's a leader. He is a leader. Now, we can get tied down with captain, and we've got Worrell as club captain. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter that much who's got the armband on. As long as you're a leader on the pitch, you don't need that armband. Felipe is a leader. He doesn't need an armband. If he tells somebody to do something, they'll do it. Trust me. So I'm not too hung up about who's actually got the armband. I think he's a captain just by being who he is. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And then the other person I want to talk about was Aurier, because he got man of the match at the ground, didn't he?
Yeah.
For me, I've been a little worried about him lately, and I was a bit worried about the way he got done on the back post twice yesterday. I know one of the goals didn't count.
Yeah, I'm not going to discuss disallowed goals because the disallowed goals don't count.
Yeah, the disallowed goals. Yeah, I'm talking about the scenarios. And you messaged me saying Nathan was ready to slit my throat or something over
And
Aurier.
Charlie
Charlie
was.
as well. Bloody hell, Charlie's gone aggressive as well.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm not saying his gameplay was poor, but I'm saying in key situations, he is getting caught out at that back post. But overall, do you think his game is coming back? Because he did have that ropey patch.
Yeah, he did.
Guys in the chat, where are you on Aurier at the moment?
Yeah, I think he's coming back. I think he had a good game yesterday, but I do agree. I've watched the replay because you know when you're caught up in it at the time, you don't always notice.
Yeah. Well, you won't get the angle where you're sitting.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, the kind of disappointing thing is that as he was running back and Isaac was outside him, he did actually glance over. So it's not, you know, sometimes defenders get criticised for ball watching and not seeing the player. Yeah. But on this occasion, if you look, he does glance. So he knew he was there, but he didn't close him down enough. And that, for me, was a mistake. And it was a mistake. He should have gone over to Isaac, and then in which case he could have put in a challenge. So, it was at fault, But other than that, I thought he had a good game. You know, and people I spoke to around the ground, they thought the same, and he got voted man of the match. I was surprised he got man of the match, to be honest, because he wasn't on Felipe's level. So you can't you can't take that as what it must be then. You know what I mean? I agree with you on that. But I thought 4 was really, really harsh. The score you gave him, I thought was really
but mate, you got to remember, right? I got to defend myself for a moment. One, I'm talking to the chat a lot of the time during a watch along. Secondly, I didn't want to speak to anyone after. I was like you, man. I was like, it like my, you find you kind of missus cheated on you kind of scenario. That's how it felt. And it's just like, I just wanted to rattle through, and you're there thinking, and it's just so painful.
I understand. I used to watch on the away matches, as you know. I used to be in the chat on the watch-alongs. I had to come out of it because I thought, hang on, I can't remember what happened in the match because it's that entertaining in the chat, and you get that involved in discussions. You can miss things, and that's not a criticism. It's the way it is.
Yeah, I know. And also emotions are running high at the time, so all of that. So Nathan.
Yeah, and if you're in your mind, all you'll think is his fault for the goal. Then you're gonna mark that player down.
Yeah, and then it starts to stick out. But so Nathan, I won't be coming near you or Charlie for a while. Put it that way. All right. What we got here in the comments? Simon's saying, think our back 5 is solid now. Niakate mistake aside, all the issues for me are transition through the midfield. I think this is a cracking point. I really like the back 5. Be it Hendo, be it Navas, I'm cool with either. But that back 4, to me, give it a couple more games, it could be rock solid. Should this not be the catalyst to then get that midfield to do what midfielders are meant to do and not come back?
Yes, because if you're secure at the back, then you should have the confidence to move up the field. It's dead simple. And that's been one of our biggest problems throughout the season, is that our midfield is too far back. And then it's either then disconnected from the front line because there's too big a gap, or the front line starts coming back as well to connect, and then you're all in the same half.
Spot on. You're spot on. And the thing is, Anne, I feel that this is just my thoughts of the midfield, is that they didn't trust our defensive line behind them. So they go back to go deep to cover the holes. And as we were saying earlier, it creates the hole for Bruno to work in front of them. But now surely they should see the man mountain that is Felipe. You got Newcastle once he's back up and fully running to speed. And they're going to have to learn to trust them that they will win those balls. You know, it's that's how like Premier League teams have to operate. Otherwise, it's going in with that defeatist attitude. And we've got to avoid that. We've got to start playing our football.
Look, if you're even if you take Freuler, who I think we all agree has been playing too deep, or shall we? We all agree, I think, that it's been playing too deep. But let's say Freuler. If you're Freuler and you've got McKenna and Worrell behind you, are you going to feel like stepping up more or less than if you've got Felipe and Niakate behind you?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's where it comes from. It comes from that solidity in defence.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, quick reminder, do hit that like button if you're watching live now or if you're watching later on. We are going to bring it to the real question of the day. Look, there's no football for 2 weeks. We got to hold this L for a while, mate. It will ease, you know, the wound will heal. But the real question is, we're coming back to Wolves, Leeds and Villa off the top of my head as the next three. Huge, huge week. All in the space, I think, of 7 days, if I'm right. Are we surviving, Ant?
Yeah, of course we are. Don't you have to think about it. I've said all along.
I know you have. I know I have. I know a lot of people in the chat have. Okay, let me rephrase. Are you more confident or less confident than you were a month ago?
Less.
Okay. How much less?
I can't put a percentage on it. Just less. Settle for that. But I'm not stupid, right? I mean, you might think actually I might be. I haven't thought about it. I'm aware that we could get relegated. I'm not just going to say, well, I do sometimes say we're not getting relegated, but that's just bravado chest, you know.
I'm just, and while you talk, I'm just going to put a poll out. I'm interested to see where the chat are on this. So, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So I'm not blind to the fact we could get relegated. I just don't believe we will, because I believe that we have the squad depth and the players, once available, to be better than at least 3 other teams. Now, obviously, a lot of it depends on if those squad players are being picked to play in the team and the tactics are correct that we play. And that is obviously down to the manager. So I'm holding fire a little bit. I still believe that we're going to be all right. Maybe despite the manager rather than because of him, maybe. But I think we'll be okay. I just think if you look at our players, like we just mentioned the defence, and you look at the midfield, we've got Danilo, although, again, you have to play them. We've got Danilo, we've got Mangala, we've got Yates, we've got Freuler, we've got Scarpa, we've got Coyote. You know, in defence, we've got Bolly to back up once he's fit again. And then up front, we've got Jono, we've got Scarpa if he plays further forward, we've got MGW. You know, we've got a lot of good players. So we should be okay. Let's put it that way. If we go down, I'll tell you this now, right? If we go down, in my opinion, it will be the fault of the manager.
I agree. I do agree. And I'm not saying it's his fault solely and completely, because you still got the whole 30 players thing, etc. I'm talking about it on a tactical level.
Yeah.
That's where it will. Because you got to say, you know, if you gave these players to a different manager, where would we end up? And, you know, Sai's saying here, more and more I think it's Cooper holding us back. We have some very good players. We do. And it's crazy to see this poll. So the poll at the moment that I've put up, if you guys may be listening on the podcast, just to read out to you, are Forest going down? 33% are saying yes. 39% are saying no. And 28% are not sure. I think if we did that a month ago, the stats would have been very different. And I'm not surprised at how split that poll is at the moment. I'll leave it open for a little bit, keep the votes coming in. There's already been a good chunk of votes coming through there.
It would have been interesting if those poll results would have been the same had Musa Niakate not handballed the ball in the 93rd minute.
Yeah, but those are the fine margins.
One goal at the end of a match can flip people. No, I'm not saying that's wrong, by the way. I'm just saying it can.
Those are the margins.
Mentality is different. Yeah.
Simon's saying teams down in the relegation zone don't usually have players of the pedigree of Navas, Felipe, Niakate, Lodi, Aurier, Shelby, MG Dub, Dennis, Scarpa, Johnson, etc. I do tend to agree. However, I would say, look, if I was to look at the squads down the bottom, how many squads are better than us, would you say, in that bottom 9? I'd probably say West Ham would be one that comes to mind. They've got some cracking players, but Moyes is crap, right? And I would probably say, I'm trying to think who else is down there now.
You know what? It's difficult because squads have a certain amount of top players. So it's not the whole squad that's better than that whole squad. It's like the core of that squad could be better than you know what I mean? It's a very difficult thing to judge. I mean, there aren't, to be honest with you, I mean, even with the likes of Bournemouth and that, there are no bad squads. You know what I mean? Even if you take Southampton, some of their players, it's not the whole squad that's bad. If you look
They're
at
one-man team, man. Come on. Ward-Prowse, and he's only good at free kicks.
I don't know. They've got some decent players, haven't they? I mean, they just scored 3 against Spurs, which is more than we did.
Yeah, that's true. Foxy's saying a poll is a snapshot of a moment and a mood at a time. Absolutely, and that's what I just want to gauge is the mood. Look, you guys are getting more positive in the poll. You've got it up to 43% saying no, we're not going down. 33% saying we are, and 24% are not sure. I'm gonna say we stay up. At the moment now, I'll be straight with you. It's more hope than guarantee. I can't give anyone a guarantee, nor could you at any point in the season. We are definitely in a dogfight. What I really want you guys to do on Monday is make sure you tune in to the stream we've got. I have purposely done this, and when me, Ez, and the rest of the boys were organizing it, because we got to get outside of our bubble, of this Forest bubble. And I think it's really important that we understand how the other fan bases are reacting. Everton for a very long time was saying they're going down. After they'd lost, even after they'd lost to Arsenal, they were like, I can't see where the next win is coming from. Leeds were the same. Leeds were like, we're not getting another win. Yes, both of them had manager changes, etc. Look at them now. Everton are 15th. Leeds are 14th. Yeah, they're going to be feeling quite buzzy. Yeah, you look at Southampton, who drew with Spurs today and still find themselves bottom of the table. This fight is not over, and we will have another phase where we get a win or two and the world will look rosy again. That's my kind of message to everyone. Yeah, let's just hope that phase comes sooner rather than later. Sorry, Ant, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I don't suppose you happen to know who Leeds' next game is, who Everton's next game is?
I can tell you that. Who do you want to know? Leeds.
Both Leeds and Everton.
So Leeds have got Arsenal away, and then Forest.
Not easy.
Yeah, and then they've got us, and then Crystal Palace. We will have a stream where we're going to go through a lot of the fixtures.
Just the next game for both. So Leeds have
got Arsenal away, and Everton have got Spurs at home.
I'm not so sure about Everton Spurs because Spurs are just garbage. But yeah, I would expect Leeds to lose at Everton, if I'm honest. And the point I'm going to try and make is that if we win our game against Wolves, all of a sudden everything looks different because all of a sudden we're above again and they're below, and it just looks different.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's going to be like that all the way, isn't it?
It is, and I'll give you just everyone's next game here. In fact, give me 1 second. Let me just get the games up here. So so the next set of games, right? Bournemouth are home to Fulham. We've got Wolves, obviously. Palace have got Leicester. There's a few clashes between the bottom half teams here. Yeah, Arsenal are at home to Leeds. Brighton are playing Brentford. That's got no interest for us. And Chelsea Villa, we've got no real interest in that. Then you got West Ham versus Southampton. That's a big game. That's a big game.
So,
And
so
then
all
you've
the
got
other teams are going to be taking points off each other as well, aren't they? So
or gaining points, and
it's
then
exciting, you know.
midweek we've got Leeds, and Bournemouth are at home to Brighton, and Leicester are at home to Villa. This is gonna get spicy, guys. We'll be here for the whole ride for you guys. It's gonna
You know
be
what?
really, really
You know
spicy.
what? You know what? It is exciting. You got to admit it. And
Yes.
we kind of sit here and say, "Oh, I wish we were like Villa, mid-table, nothing to play for." But would it be better? Would it?
For my
Or
heart,
is
it would,
no,
man.
no, but is it? It's quite not. I mean, every game now is exciting, not just for us, but the games we watch of the others 8 teams or 9 teams at the bottom. You know what I mean? We're interested in every one. If we were like Villa, it's like we wouldn't even be interested in our own games, never mind anybody else's. So it's kind of exciting.
I know what you're
Let's
saying.
embrace it. Let's embrace it.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's like saying to me, like, you know what? I used to also have this discussion with Twist and Mo and all my other mates. They'd say to me, if you were coming up back when we were in the championship, would you rather come up through the playoffs if I could guarantee you win the playoffs, or would you rather just run away with the league? And I was like, playoffs, because you get to watch Forest for 3 extra games, and the playoffs are exciting. I remember the heartbreak back in, what was it,
Wembley.
2003. Yeah, but not just that. Forget Wembley settings and all that, yeah. But I'm just saying, you will never experience fear like that, will you? Excitement like that.
Butt clenching.
Yes, man. And it's like, if you could
You know what,
guarantee me that
I've
you
got
go
a
through, you
confession.
take it that way.
I've got a confession, right?
Hey, Greg. Go on.
It's a big one.
Oh,
When we
God.
played Bournemouth, I was kind of like that. Because I thought, do I want us to win and then that's it? Or do I want us to go to semi-finals and the final and have a glory day at Wembley and go up? I wasn't 100%, we've got to win this game, please, then we'll get promoted. I was quite confident that we would go up through the playoffs, you see. I was absolutely confident. Although the second half against Sheffield United shook that a bit.
Yeah.
But, the excitement of going to those semi-finals and going to Wembley and that day and getting promotion that way is kind of special compared with, you've gone up, you've gone up, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I know it makes sense, but I would have taken beating Bournemouth, because
No, I understand that. Listen,
I know.
understand.
Just because of the pains, the historical
Yeah.
pains we've had in playoffs and stuff like that. My heart can only take so much. I've already got an irregular heartbeat, man. Right? I can't deal with more irregularities coming to it. So for me, I would have happily gone up second, boring style. Yeah, the bridesmaid and all that. But if you gave me a guarantee that we'd go up through the playoffs, then I'd take the playoffs, right?
I think that's
That's what I'm
probably it,
saying.
actually, Wolverine. I think I was so confident that, to me, it felt like a guarantee. Do you know what I mean? So I was not worried at any point. Well, except for that second half against Sheffield. I was very worried then. But even when it came to penalties, I was so calm. I was not worried. I just had a feeling, So that's probably why I
Obviously you're an optimist. I'm a pessimist. I was re-seeing the 4-2 from back in 2000. When was it? 2003, wasn't it? Where oh god, mate, that one was painful.
When they scored that second goal, I was like, that's it. I was one of them. That we get saying we're down. I was like, that's it. There's no way we're winning this now.
Yeah, I was like that.
When it got to penalties, it was like all of a sudden my heart rate went from. All of a sudden, it was like.
Do you know with the penalties, right? I had that feeling as well, but only because I got this stupid thing in my head of penalties. I always feel whoever goes first is more likely to win. I always have that. Yeah.
No, that's fact. That's fact.
Yeah, they even tried to do the ABBA thing, didn't they? The ABBA, where A would go, then 2 for B, and then A.
Yes, did,
and it's just, I always feel that the team that goes first. So that was the first time in that match where I felt a little more confident. And then when we got the penalty saves, I was feeling confident. But when Lollipop missed the shot, man, I was like, oh my God, here we go. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I mean, the thing is, I was calm with the penalties. And to be fair, up until... sorry, who missed our penalty?
Lolly.
like, yeah. Up until that, to be fair, it was just so our way, wasn't it? There was never we weren't ever down or anything like that.
Yeah,
We weren't behind. So that kind of, and it just looked like, well, we're going to win this. And then he missed, and you're right. I've got to be honest. I had that bit of PTSD come back at that point.
You know what though? Just even talking about it is making me happy. Just remembering it back.
Yeah, I'm getting tears in my eyes just remembering.
Yeah. and here's the thing, right? The final was so boring for a neutral to watch, yeah. But for me, I was calmer in the final than I was for the semis. And I just felt like we were going to win, yeah. And then when they scored an own goal, and then obviously the VAR stuff, is like, you know, it's going to be your day, man. And it's just so nice. But
before the game at Wembley, again, I was 4-0, 4-0, gonna slaughter them because we were playing so well, and our style of football was so good for us.
Fast,
you know what
fast,
I mean?
isn't it?
Like
Snappy.
scoring.
Yeah.
Whenever we attacked, we looked like scoring.
Yeah.
Now don't forget, we played a lot of counter-attacking football.
Yeah, but it was fast transitions. It was fast transitions. Yeah,
and it looked good. The fast transition, and we always looked powerful and potent in offence. So I was so confident again, and you're right. The match was, I felt sorry for any neutrals. I really did. But you know the bit that got me. Sorry, I know we're going a bit down memory lane.
Memory lane. It's here to be positive. These are positive memories.
For a while. The bit that brought the tears was when it said, "You are stepped up, Nottingham." I'm getting goose pimples. You are Premier League, and that was the bit like, oh, we've done it.
Nottingham Forest stepped up, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, the Easter's Red sums it up. Worst game to watch of the season, but the best game to be there for.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, as well, the celebrations afterwards. It even got to the stage where I said, "For God's sake, get off the pitch! I'm knackered." They went on for about half an hour, diving around. The players I'm talking about on the pitch, and obviously you're enjoying it and joining in. And it's like, oh God, I'm knackered. Stop it.
Crypto saying Wolverine and Forest Ham becoming happy clappers. Hey, we were happily clapping away at that game, yeah. Sai saying towards the end of the playoff semi-final, I thought we were out. I did. You know the turning point. Do you know the turning point for me that put that first seed of doubt in my mind was when they scored in their home leg in the 90th minute.
Yeah, totally unnecessary goal as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Samba flapped at it as well, didn't he? And it's like he didn't need to do that, and it was
goal. Yeah.
All right, guys. Anyway, that was last season. This is this year. We're in the Premier League. We're gonna be staying. Look, I don't know how we've gone over 2 hours. Let's wrap it up there. It's been a fantastic stream. I feel, especially talking about those playoffs again, man. I'm getting all choked up about it again. But it's been fantastic as always.
Just very quickly, Pat makes a good point, and he's absolutely right. The European Cup finals were crap as well, but my God, being a Forest fan then, being there was, and there were crap finals, both of them.
Who cares as long as you win?
Who cares?
No one remembers the quality of the game. Everyone just remembers the scores and the winners. My mate was also
the 2 stars.
Exactly. My mate also was like, they got a pen at the end. I was like, what the fuck? And then everyone's still missing Samba. Congratulations, of course, to Samba, who has made it to the French squad. Someone saying, nice one, Ant and Wolverine. Don't forget Ez as well. He's had to catch the Marinakis Airlines back to England from his Swiss villa. Right, we'll be back. What is tomorrow? Sunday. I think we're back on Monday. We got Beat the Drop on Monday, and probably be a daily video tomorrow as well. I've still got to do the in-depth analysis, but listen, guys, it's all going to be okay, but it may not be. That's all I'm going to say. Right?
It will be. It will be.
Don't go too far one way and don't go too far the other way. Stay. You can go where you want.
Be balanced like Wolverine,
Yeah, exactly. Don't be a Wolverine. Yeah, don't be an ant. Yeah, be more like a Lemmy. Yeah, balance somewhere in the middle with a good, strong opinion, and
not the stats.
Yeah, and don't swear so much. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next thing we got coming on. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We hope you feel a little bit better. The wound will heal. There's 2 weeks of it. We'll have plenty of content to keep you going. And come on, you Reds.